Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
You should have an intro graphic for the show. Intro video for the show.
Hey, that's what I was thinking, man. Kind of entertain.
Yeah, please the crowd and the audience.
So it's not so much of a that.
I don't think you mind explaining that whole reference to Solange, because
I have no clue what it was.
Yeah.
Well, Ben did an article a long time ago on his show where it was about this thing that mixes the like urban style and dancing. And it's like all the urbans, I guess.
Well, it was like, it was kind of like a fight show, but like they fight by dancing, so it's like all. And I was explaining it to the guys, and they were all just like, nope, we don't get it. That's. But shout outs to Kevin MacLeod for the theme song from Compotech.com.
Still waiting for Frank to do his own.
Well, remember he had that one wiggly, 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 wiggly.
Yeah.
Wiggly, wiggly.
But yeah, welcome to episode 63 of the TNT.
TNT, oi, oi, dynamite, oi, oi. Anyway.
But yeah, we're down. I'm not sure. We're down one person. I'm not sure if I should mention why, but
he had to go to a secret remote location to talk to Fidel Castro and JFK, because they're both still alive, and Elvis.
Right.
Yeah. But luckily you've got me and my girlfriend Solange. Hey, Solange.
Hey.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, guys. Helping to save me from just doing a solo show.
You're welcome.
Come on, you can't do a one-man show like those guys. The guys that give you the life story, like, let me tell you about growing up in my town. the one-man shows.
Well, I mean, you really kind of have to be in the mood for that, and if you're like not having the best week, then it's just gonna like be. It's definitely not gonna be as good. But I would like to try a solo one, but I think it'd be mostly where like I do some tech setups and some news articles, but then good amount of the time I think I would try to do it where like I try to see how many points I could get out of like doing some trivia or something, be like, will I get a passing grade on this or not,
Oh.
Will I get 8 out of 10?
No, you should. It just sounds like you should just do like a let's play, like Ian trying to play a game. Whoa, 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 whoa. Comfort the widow pack man.
Right.
The widow pack. Futurama jokes.
Yeah, but it's definitely got to be planned out, though. I think that makes it easier, so you can go from one thing to another, where you don't have to worry about dead silence or anything.
Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air.
Yeah, you did it pretty well by yourself when you started the show.
Yeah, so I was just talking to a mic, and awkward silence is awkward. So.
Yeah. By the way, what's everybody drinking? I'm drinking this Not Your Father's Mountain Ale, which is like a hard Mountain Dew.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Solange, why don't you tell them about your booze sticks that you had on vacation?
my booze sticks that got me hammered. Well, I can't drink much. For various reasons, but I do enjoy the taste of flavor of vodka. So I take and I make ice cubes out of vodka and I add them to Sprite, and then that's actually a vodka cooler, because you can't freeze straight vodka because it's vodka.
Alcohol, yeah, freezing
alcohol. So I freeze vodka coolers that's raspberry flavored, And so I stick that in my Sprite, and I've got like a raspberry Sprite vodka thing going on.
It's like that old Dean Martin joke. I don't drink that much. If I drank that much, I'd been dead 10 years ago. I freeze it, eat it like a popsicle. So, well, right now at the moment, I'm drinking a Mountain Dew Live Wire, but I know this isn't going to last, so I brought the Mountain Dew Spiked Lemonade. So,
yeah, usually for every show, I do like 2 like drinks and then like a water or something, you know.
Well, I mean, to be fair, your guys' shows tend to go on for like 4 hours, so
yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting us for 4 hours tonight.
No,
no, we don't have like 20 Frank's articles, you know.
Yeah, he'll introduce like 20 articles and then want to talk about the first one after he's done with the last one. So, oh man,
yeah.
But it's still a far cry from the early days where he would just get up and grab a guitar and sit back down while we're trying to talk.
Well, yeah, because he likes that he's like a co-host on that show, so he's like, hey, I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah, Ian remembers back when I first introduced him to Frank, and like we'd be trying to do a show, and Frank would just get a guitar and start playing while we're trying to read the news. Like, come on. That's great.
Yeah, I still swear that he says it's shorts, but that's gotta be like the most like confusing like shorts that look like underwear that he wore that one time he got up, man.
That time he got up and you could see his rump. You're like, are you in your underwear?
I mean, if he was wearing underwear, it'd be like really easy to see that he was like wearing 2 things, you know.
I like how he decides to broadcast from the guest room, and it's like pitch black except for the computer lighting, and he's got stuff all over the bed and stuff behind him, so it looks like he's in a dungeon.
Yeah. Well,
I broadcast from the basement. Don't look.
Yeah.
Maybe their bedroom is their dungeon. Everything.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, you gotta have a separate place in case guests come by.
Yeah.
You gotta keep the dungeon separate, so that way you can invite guests into the guest dungeon.
Is it guest dungeon now? Oh, good grief!
Why not? You'd have like just like the guest soaps, and then you have the guest paddles and.
Actually, I have a friend who has guest paddles and such.
Nice.
In her dungeon.
Well, with Frank, I bet you'd be 50 Shades grosser. That's for sure.
Oh boy. Ian.
Well, I mean, the times that he does turn it on, he is like, you see how messy of a bed he has and stuff. It's like, oh, turn the light back off.
Man. So it's been a while, man. We haven't seen you in quite a bit. Why don't you tell us what you've been up to? What you've been doing?
Not a whole lot, like project-wise. I mean, the main thing is I was trying to work on these brackets that I was making for. There's like a cover that goes on top of my 3D printer that came in parts, but they never. Since I got an open box, it never came with any like brackets or connectors to put the sides together. So I was trying to make my own, and yeah, it was turning out to be kind of frustrating. So like I've been doing that, and you know,
like you couldn't just order the cover separate. You're trying to DIY it, or
yeah. I don't really think you could do it separate, and I mean, I think I might as well try it, just to save money, I guess, you know. But it's one of those things that turned out to be a lot. You put in way more effort than it probably was to actually just like do like an odd job to pay for the thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 3D printers and stuff like that's still kind of like. It's all kind of DIY as like the new thing comes out and you kind of want to adapt the existing printer you have to do it. So,
yeah. And I want to get good at learning how it works and everything. So like if something goes wrong, I could fix it pretty decently, you know?
So I don't think you had the 3D printer when we were talking, or at least you haven't talked about it. Why don't you, what kind of 3D printer do you have? What are you planning on doing with it?
It's I plan on making like lots of things, you know, like headphone holders, like a lot of stuff for my audio equipment, lighting stuff, you know, like if I need some kind of brackets or anything, just like functional type of things.
You gonna
not
do
so
anything
much.
like commercial with it, like 3D print stuff out and sell them for people, or
Yeah, I might. I've been working on these covers for my stepmom, trying to model them out. She wants like a dog bone like shape of a cover for like light switches and outlets and stuff. I don't know if you saw
Oh,
on like Etsy. Sometimes there's like a couple people that will do like different kinds of stylized covers, like hearts or like sports or something.
yeah. Well, for Solange that doesn't know, his mom has like a pet bed company thing that she's doing where she makes custom
Oh,
pet beds.
oh, cool.
So
Yeah, she does pet beds, like custom like colors and stuff, and uh she does dog treats and stuff like
does she have like
homemade.
an Etsy shop for him, or is it like does she have like a proper her own dedicated storefront, or like where she?
Well,
Yeah.
she's everything's on like her social media stuff, so she's
Oh,
networks all through that. She goes on different websites to try to get different venues. She goes out to all these different like festivals or places where you could sell stuff.
well, that's
She's
cool
going
because
out
like you
all
would
every
actually know
weekend
your
pretty much.
customers. Like, so
Yeah.
she sounds like she's doing pretty good business, right? Or
Yeah, she had some deals with some stores and stuff, and they
nice.
yeah they haven't focused too heavily on that because they've been more of like like hands on, so they've been getting a lot more business going, like communicating with other people than
Like
the store
offline,
in the
actually.
stores.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. That's how you get stuff done, rather than the people that like buy a business and put up a site and don't get any customers. Like me,
yeah.
I didn't buy a business. I've been trying to start one, but it's slow
Uh,
going. I'm not too good at the people talking stuff, dealing with those
right.
people and humans.
Me neither. You're not the good hustler like Nate, huh?
Oh yeah, because I don't know if you know, Solange. Do you know Nate? He's been on the show. He's one of Ian's buddies lives in his apartment complex. He's a flipper, so like he gets stuff and then he basically arbitrage. I think is the word for it, where you buy a thing, and then sell it. Buy it from one market like used stuff from flea markets, then you either sell it on like eBay or like
Okay.
what was the last time you were telling us, Ian? He bought like a whole bunch of video games that like were all scratched up, and then he got like one of those scratch fixers and started trying to sell them on online or something.
Yeah, it was like a box where a whole spectrum of defects were on them. Like some of them were in perfect condition, pretty much, and then some just had minor scratches, and then major, and then some was you just couldn't even repair it, because with that kind of machinery, because it was like totally cracked.
Well, I mean, there's sites where you can buy like a box of like MISC DVDs and Blu-rays that they're trying to get rid of from closed down stores. So like, if you want like 50 copies of 50 Shades of Grey, or the 50 copies of the bonus disc to a movie that you don't have the actual movie, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's a flipper. He did stuff like that. He stole I mean not stole sold he does business with like the trading cards from Steam, and basically anything he gets a lot of and makes money from it.
Yeah,
So
anything that you'd think that just like the trading cards is an example of like you wouldn't think of going that deep into trying to squeeze some kind of money out of.
oh, he looks into the stats like, oh, if you buy this, then you can put them into a pack and then sell the pack or this or that,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but if there's money in it, somebody's going to take the time to do it.
Right.
I don't have the best head for numbers. Solange here though has a better head for him when you ask her to convert stuff to, from miles to kilometers.
Well,
Or,
I'm fluent in both, so it's easy to do.
Well,
yeah, and it's like I'm not. Plus, your job is usually converting, like
metric to imperial.
Well, not like converting like large size baking.
Yeah.
Well, coming from a 3D printing side and 3D modeling and stuff, because I do have to work with measurement scales and stuff in the 3D modeling programs I use. I tend to go back and forth with both. On the larger scale of things, I tend to use inches and stuff. Whereas the smaller scale, where I need a lot more accuracy, I tend to use the millimeters and everything. So.
Cool. So you've been working on dog bone light switch covers for that stuff for your mom. Cool.
Yeah, I've been working on that. I made some like regular covers so I could kind of use them as like templates and stuff, you know, if I want to build stuff on that. The dog bones I had to make a totally new shape, but sometimes you could use like the regular square shape and like builds, because a lot of times it's just like people just like glue things onto them and stuff, you know. So
yeah, well, I saw on like I think it was the mildly interesting subreddit that there was like somebody, their like ceiling fan had like the you know how they have those little chain cords, and they had a thing where one was shaped like a fan and one was shaped like a light bulb, so that you could tell which one you were pulling in the dark. It's like, that's kind of nice.
Yeah,
but yeah. Although I guess if you were blind, it'd be really nice to have anyway. Yeah.
Right.
It's dark. Am I pulling the? Why is this light not coming on? Oh, it's because I'm pulling the fan.
No, it's because you're blind.
No, but I'm just saying if it's dark, not because I'm blind.
Oh, I thought you said if you're blind. Okay.
I'm just saying for somebody that's blind and somebody goes, "Can you turn on the light?" Hold on. Okay, this feels like a light bulb. That's my nose. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's just been kind of interesting and a little bit of work trying to do, because like I'm trying to do like the there's whole different kinds of them too, because I'm trying to do like the single outlet ones, and then they have double outlets and double switches, and sometimes there's like combinations of the two, you know, you have in the bathrooms or whatever.
Well, that's when you mass produce something, man.
Yeah. So it's been kind of interesting just trying to keep with the standards. I've noticed like you got to be pretty accurate, at least with the screw holes. That I think there's a standard for those amongst like different outlets and stuff you get in different houses, but you could pretty much like make it as large as you want. You don't want to go too small, because then whatever hole that they cut out in the wall to put the switches in, you don't want to go any smaller than that, you know.
I think that's good, man. I think you could, like, you're a very awesome 3D modeler, digitally. So it's like, it would be great to see you like open up an Etsy shop of like, check out these, like you get a light switch that has like a monster's face on it, or like football for if you're a football fan, or because like once you figure out the templates, all you gotta do is swap out the the front half of it,
Yeah, I could do a screen share for this if you want.
Sure, go ahead, man. Show us what you've been up to.
Let me see.
Okay.
Okay, here I have this in my 3D modeling program now.
All right. Oh, so like the frame things. I thought you were talking about like
plastic part.
I thought you were talking about like covers for the Switch, so you're flicking like a little bone or something.
No, not that weird, but just like the cover, because it's nice, because then you can make any kind of designs or shape that you want for the most part.
Yeah, as long as you know the size of the the flip part.
Yeah, you got to do like the flip part and the holes.
Yeah, for the screws and the dimmer switches.
And these are the outlets ports,
Yeah, that must be pretty nice for printing, because it's not very tall. So.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing is that then you have to. I don't know if I'll probably try to keep it pretty simple, because I know they have way different kinds for like cable out, like Ethernet outlets, or like some of them are trying to put like USBs in there and stuff,
Yeah, well, I mean, you could probably get like custom, USB to power adapters that look like dog bones, or
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much do anything. I just want to try to stay simple a little bit at the start to see if, like, I might try to sell these with my parents or something. Maybe they could try selling some of these after I 3D print it out, So just try to experiment and stuff a little bit. So yeah, The only thing is I got to figure out. I can't. It's not really economical to try to mass produce something 3D printing wise, because it takes really long to 3D print out each thing. So essentially, when you 3D print, you're making prototypes, and if you want to make more of them, it's best to do molds and stuff, you know.
Well, so, like I would do the 3D printing for like to get an idea of what one is popular, and then find a manufacturer that'll do it and like have them print like 1,000 at a time, you know. And just so
definitely. I just gotta get good with doing 3D molds and stuff because I don't really have much experience with it. I watched a lot of videos of them though. I try to.
So you're wanting to print out molds for 3D, or like are you talking about like making the model and printing it out, or?
Yeah, just making the model 3D, printing it out, and then trying to make a mold of that so I can make more copies of it. Then, you know, with the mold.
Yeah, isn't there like a shrinkage problem when you like make a thing and then make a mold of it? Because like when people like mold action figures and then try to you know bootleg them or whatever, you know.
Well, the mold I believe stays pretty accurate as far as that goes. The material you cast in it, I think, depends on how much shrinkage you have. So you got to be careful what kind of plastic or resin that you're gonna pour into the mold. You know. Sometimes when you're 3D printing out the different kinds of like filament or plastic that you use can vary as far as shrinkage goes. So a lot of times you have to like scale your model up or a little bit or whatever.
But when you 3D print stuff, you gotta, you know, like if you're gonna put screws in it or something, you kind of have to give it a little bit of give just in case you measured it, you know. So, because you kind of like how well it'll print like to the millimeter or whatever. It's like you want to get a little bit of leeway to if you're trying to screw something in, so it's not like sealed tight.
Yeah. Well, like I did an adapter for one of my lenses for my cameras that I had my dad print out at work because his company has a 3D printer there too. So like I could just email him my 3D model file and he was able to print it out for me. And it took a couple of tries getting the threads right and stuff because I had to have a thread to put the the lens filters on there. So, yeah, it's just trial and error a little bit. And then once you got it dialed down pretty good, then you could just start working with that then, you know, I guess. But what about you, man? What have you been working on, man? Because I know you don't, whenever you come on the show, you don't probably get as much of a chance to talk about all your work.
Well, I don't get as much of a chance to talk about anything because Frank kind of pushes me aside and he goes, yeah, so let's talk about processors. And
yeah.
Which, you know, I haven't been up to too much. There was an animation challenge for October that I was going to try and do, but like since I was out, you know, in Canada visiting somebody into October, and then I came back here and I've had trouble getting work done properly. Where it's like I've kind of had the problem of like I have a lot of stuff in my head where I'm built up and ready to work, but actual sitting down and drawing, I've had trouble just being okay with drawing because my mindset is like, no, I shouldn't be drawing. I should be doing hustle, and I should go and try and make money, and I should actually try, you know, do this and that. And it's like, no, drawing is how I'm going to make money. Dang it! I need to focus on making the art, not being.
You need a manager. That's what you need, man.
Yeah. I use somebody that cracks the whip and goes, okay, this is what you're going to do today. Yes, boss. But then, you know, why have my own business? Why try to be my own artist? I don't know. I just love the idea of a manager who calls me up. You got a gig, but you know, I don't want to do a gig. Hush up. You're going to do the gig. You're going to make me money. All right. Whatever, pimp. I mean, manager. So, yeah. Been trying to work on that, trying to do things. Petting the kitty cat when she behaves.
Yeah, that's what you need to hustle too, is the pet.
What?
Yes. Like an evil, you need to think like an evil villain, Ben.
Yeah. Well, it's a little weird because she was laying on my left arm, so it's like, you know, the evil villains, you know, it's like I'm right-handed, so I can't pet her this way because that's against the grain, but it's weird. Anyway, so yeah, I've been trying to do animating stuff, trying to focus on business stuff, looking at things like private labels, stuff on Amazon. Like about private labeling, right? Ian, where you find a generic product that's selling for like a decent amount, and then you buy from manufacturers in like China or somewhere and put your own brand on it and sell it for the little bit of the margin. Build up your brand around it.
I haven't heard of that too much, but I could see where that could be pretty decent.
Yeah, like people that are into like supplements. You find what is really selling, and then you get somebody to sell a blank, put your brand on it and be selling like Ian label supplements or Ian label this or that. And you want something that fits like certain criteria of like that's not going to get returned too often or become outdated. So like if you want to do like computer stuff, it's like, well, that stuff gets outdated. You don't want to be stuck with 1,000 surplus of a thing that nobody wants to buy anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been looking at that and other things to do that I could set up and do. I've been looking into starting, print on demand. Another thing Amazon does, they've got merch by Amazon, which is their print on demand T-shirt thing. So I was gonna look into that because there's people that do that for a business, and it's like you design the thing and then they handle actual shipping and fulfillment and stuff. Stuff like that, or like a print on artist print site. Just stuff I can do and set up and focus on making more stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I like about Amazon, though. It's like you can tell that they're making a lot of money, and they're not too greedy because they're making lots of money, but they're really trying to like invest a lot of it in trying to get all these different kinds of crazy services and stuff.
It's not that they're not greedy. I mean, Google's done the same thing where they dip their toe in a lot of things because they have a market for it. It's like they sold a lot of books and then they start selling all these other things, and now it's like, you heard about that Key by Amazon, right? Where they get people to deliver stuff and you give them access to your house. It's like,
yeah,
it's like, no thanks. Oh man.
Well, I mean, Amazon, I will say they do seem to like stay out of trouble because you don't hear about too many like controversial things like Google as far as their company goes.
Well, I've heard the controversial stuff of like being an employee at like the Amazon warehouse where all the hours that you're expected to put in and shipping and all this stuff, but it's like any company that's going to be that big and that successful and they have that big of the market, you're going to hear something. I don't know.
Yeah. What about you, Solange? Or unless you have any more that you wanted to?
No. That's pretty much what I've been up to.
You haven't been up to like what have you been up to, like any kind of like specific projects or anything like that?
Me?
Or
no, Ben first. Sorry.
No, I mean I was going to enter an animation challenge, but I spent less time actually working on the thing. I spent a lot more time going, I have an idea. This is what I'll do. And then the next day going, no, I don't like that idea. That's not going to work. And then the next day I have an idea and then not like it. So I decided to just push that aside and try and actually spend some time making work for a while. So that's what I've been doing. How about you, Solange? What you been up to since the last time we've been on the show? You've been on the show with everybody.
Mostly just working. My boyfriend was up here a little while to visit me. He'll go to visit me, and that was nice.
He's such a nice guy.
He is. And cute, too.
Yeah.
Did his Hawaiian shirts blind you at first?
Oh, no. I love them.
She's helped pick me out a few of them.
I helped him pick out a couple. His cool one with the cars and the hula girls, I picked that one out.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Green one I picked out, too.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love my girlfriend. She's awesome.
He is.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I feel bad you guys don't get to see each other that much,
We actually do really good, though. Like with Skype, we were on it for several hours every night talking and stuff, so...
last night was movie night. We watched Big Trouble in Little China.
That was pretty awesome. And all of its B glory. And let's see. Other than that, mostly I just work and stuff. So color when I'm not at work.
Yeah. What do you like to color?
Coloring books.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Recently I got let's see. I got a 50s, a 60s, and a 70s coloring book recently. So I'm coloring a 70s color or 70s picture right now. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that color, but a lot of people like the color with coloring books and stuff because like they're kind of like puzzles, I guess, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine Ben? Could you imagine trying to animate all the like the lines and stuff in coloring books? That would be crazy.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't try and animate it, but it's like, coloring books and stuff. It's like it makes sense as an artist to try and do them because you just have very thick ones and you print it out and you don't have to color anything. It's just,
Yeah.
Is
that something that you see that would be profitable, you think, is making your own coloring books, I guess?
It'd be a matter of, marketing it is the big thing because it's like, finding somebody with some thick paper that's not crap because, the cheap printers are very thin paper and nobody wants to color on that. They're get, tore up. And then it's like you have a thing, but then you've got to market it. It's like, why should I print this? It's like, well, there's adult coloring books that have dirty words in them or boobs and, this and that. But it's like, I don't know. It's a thing. It'd be a project to figure out, but I'd have to spend time marketing it, going on Facebook and finding people that like adult coloring, like Solange, and ask her, like, where do your people hang out? Where?
Yeah.
So, like any business proposition and whatnot. So.
Yeah. Like my stepmom, she even found somebody to kind of like work with, and she'll help my stepmom make some bones and stuff because it's. A lot of it is like a lot of like, factory work,
Making bones.
Yeah. They got like a giant like dough like flattener or whatever machine where it flattens it perfectly, so it's like all like the thickness is consistent and everything. It's like a giant machine that could like weighs 600 pounds, and
wow.
They got it for like $100, so it was pretty good.
Line in there.
They got like a giant industrial size mixing bowl that's like a few feet wide.
Well, that's business stuff for you when you can get stuff, industrial sized and
yeah,
get stuff at discounts. And I don't know, man. Business starting stuff, like it's a whole other thing from what I'm used to. I need to start getting better at it.
Well, commercial cooking has a lot of big equipment. I said commercial cooking has a lot of big equipment.
Yeah,
because Solange does that where like you take a recipe that's meant to feed like 4 to 6 people and then turn it to like feed 100 people at a time.
Yeah. So. Well, at work right now, one of our ovens, we have a double convection oven, and the top oven stopped working, and we're looking to replace it. And it's like $25,000 to replace it with a new one. It's like that's more than a car.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the car doesn't usually make money like the oven should. So
the oven doesn't really make money. It feeds people.
It's part of a business that people make.
I guess, yeah. And cars can be used as a business as well. So
yeah, theoretically,
probably similar in that way. So yeah, but yeah, no, it's kind of crazy how much they're looking to spend on it. And so yeah, we've been without one of our ovens for the last week and a half now. I think it's been almost 2 weeks, and it's not been fun. You play musical ovens a lot, and you find out that other ovens are not as hot as those ones. So yeah.
I saw a guy convert an oven into a metal melting foundry on YouTube.
I've seen things like that, and it's, man, converting stuff is always interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What I found interesting though is like a lot of the older stuff, like with the like the solid iron and stuff in them, is like they still hold up, today. Like get one that's like 100 years old or something.
Well, it's a like I was, well, I mean, when some people try to do things that are like, I remember, was it Jesse James, that motorcycle guy? For a long time, he couldn't afford the, industrialized version, so he had to go to like thrift stores and collect like hand molding build stuff by hand with hammers and stuff. And then once he got some money, he went and bought the industrial press. It's like it does in like a second, where he would have to spend like all day hammering a piece.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is definitely a difference though, because when you get that, it definitely looks different where you get the hand hammered and stuff. You see the randomness of the imperfections. I guess that's what people can tell.
Yeah, it's it's the difference between handmade stuff, man. It's the difference between Etsy and Amazon.
Yeah, right. Now what have you guys been watching together lately? Anything good as far as movies go, or do you watch TV shows sometimes?
Well, we started watching that the new Mystery Science Theater 3000 a while ago on Netflix. Let's see, we watched Young Frankenstein a couple nights ago.
Last week.
Yeah, because
last Friday.
Rolling.
That's a pretty good movie.
Fun times, yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, we watch a movie together every Friday night.
And then sometimes we'll stay. And if we're like hanging out on Skype, we'll just watch like funny cat gifs or YouTube videos. We watched this one guy does Mike Jevons on YouTube. He does infomercialism, where he takes like an infomercial product and then shows how useful it actually is. And
then we sit here and go, well, he doesn't know how to use a mop.
Well, there's the time he was making dump dinners because, there's that lady that had the cookbook about dump dinners where you just dump cake mix and soda and like a fruit into a thing, and then it's supposed to make a cake. And so like he started doing like a week on from her cookbook, and he broke his stove, he broke his oven, just dropping the hot pan on the door because he forgot to have oven mitts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of the DC TV shows because I've watched all the Marvel stuff already, like the Defenders and the Daredevil and the Luke Cage and stuff. I've been watching like the Arrow show, and I've been checking out that Gotham show.
How is it? Because like if it's modeled after Smallville, that was very teen angsty and teen drama-y, and I'm not quite.
No, it's a lot more darker than that. It's pretty good, I think. I know Doug was hating on it before because he's like, "Oh, it's like a Batman show, but without Batman."
You're telling me Doug hates on a thing?
No,
no,
I don't believe that.
Have you watched that new Star Trek show?
No, I haven't checked that out yet.
I've heard mixed opinions on it because like old school Trek fans are like, oh, it's more of just a generic space opera show or this or that, or I don't know. It is what it is. I mean,
I recently got my Android box working, so I've been going back and watching a lot of old shows myself. So.
Oh, like what's an old show that you've been watching, babe?
I haven't yet. I was gonna start watching Tiny Toons this weekend, but it's in for repair. But I'll probably start with that tomorrow. Yeah.
That is a fun show.
It is.
Although, like, the furry fandom kind of pushed them to end it or a little bit more abruptly than they should have. But
yeah, exactly.
That's what happens, like, anything that there's like a very hardcore fandom of, like they could be very vocal and they can either make it, there's been a lot of stuff like that in a lot of fandoms lately where like, the Rick and Morty fandom where there was that McDonald's put out that Szechuan sauce for a day and all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Or that Steven Universe fandom where that one girl did some fan art and people were telling her she should kill herself because she didn't do it right. And it's like, some people can go a little out there. So.
Yeah, I forget, were you on the show when we talked about it a little bit, Ben? The Szechuan sauce disaster?
I don't think so, but Yeah. Did you get any Szechuan sauce?
No, me and Nate were hanging out the night before, and we pretty much stayed up all night. And so he was gonna go there after he left my place. He went there at like 6 a.m. But he said they didn't have any. So
yeah,
lots of people were pissed.
Remember that woman that sold hers for a car? Like, congratulations on your very, very obviously stolen car.
Yeah. And then some people sold like, because I know some people somehow they got like a container of it or whatever, and they're selling that for like 50,000.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's all. Remember when Hostess closed and people were selling the last box of Twinkies for like thousands of dollars? It's like any inflated bubble. People will do it because they want to be the one to have the thing. So
yeah,
if people are willing to pay it, man, good on you for getting that money. As long as you didn't kill somebody or ruin somebody's livelihood for it.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think about that, Solange? Where you, because you guys got McDonald's and stuff in Canada.
Yeah, but we're not quite the crazy fanatics that, you see other places. We're too polite.
Well, I don't know. I've seen hockey games, so.
Yeah, well, that's hockey though. That's our outlet for all of our violence and such.
That's where all the rage goes.
That's where all the rage goes.
That ain't cutting trees down, right?
Not a lot of people cut trees.
You saw them down. You ever like to watch those like trees where they're cutting down or sawing up trees and stuff? No, they had some reality shows about that.
Oh,
Lumberjack life.
I didn't know that. I don't know any lumberjacks.
Yeah.
So. I don't even know if I know anybody who's ever cut down a tree. I probably do, but I can't think of anybody offhand.
I mean, it does seem like it'd be pretty dangerous, though. You have like a 1-ton tree or something coming down, I guess.
Well, tree doesn't. Well, most trees don't weigh quite that much. Like there's some weight to them, but they're not, 1,000 pounds by any means. Unless you're looking to, like you're cutting down a redwood or something like that. But we don't have redwoods in Canada.
Yeah. What is it, mostly like pine trees and stuff, or?
It depends which part of the country you're in. We had a lot, like, as far south as I am, we have a lot of coniferous trees. The further north you go, you get more to the hardier trees like the pine trees and such. Just because they're what can withstand the, minus 40 degrees in winter time, that kind of thing. So yeah, it just kind of depends which part of the country you're in. And then if you go even further north than that, there are no trees because it's too cold. So it just depends where you are.
Yep.
You been playing any video games lately, Ian?
Not really as much. I only have a 360, and I really haven't touched my new computer as far as setting all my programs and stuff up on it yet, because I was waiting here, like probably next week I was going to buy one of those ultra wides that Frank has. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking into playing Cuphead, but it's like every time, I've got a Mac, so I've been, you can get it to run on a Mac. It's just not you got to have a different program to open it in. And when I set it up the first time, it's like, oh, but you don't have the file. Like, well, I bought the game from Good Old Games or GOG or whatever you want, So I had to try and get that, and I finally got it running one time, but then I didn't have it to where I didn't like it. It was like, okay, the game's it's installed. I'm like, yeah, but where is it so I could reopen it? I don't want to play through like a whole bunch of the game and then go to play it, and it's like I don't know where that is, and I couldn't find it. So. And then I tried to get my controller working for it because it's one of those, run and gun games. So I tried to get my video game controller working for it, but my computer wasn't recognizing it properly because it was it was a Bluetooth PS3 controller, and the battery was dead on it, so I had to plug it in. But then it wouldn't like what I was trying to do wouldn't recognize, but then I tried to open up another thing and it only recognized the controller and not my mouse, and you know, it's a lot of tech problems lately. But I've been wanting to play Cuphead because I've heard good things. Have you seen anything about that game lately, Ian?
Yeah, I saw a little bit about it, but I haven't been following the progress too much. You know, I mean, it looks like an interesting game, though.
Yeah, I hear it's hard, but you know, not like unfair hard. So, you know, it's like I don't know. I mean, go ahead.
What? I was gonna say the most I've seen as far as video game wise is that Wolfenstein. You're nothing but that, you know.
Oh, did you see where they tweeted a thing promoting Wolfenstein, and a bunch of neo-Nazis are like, "Don't call everybody that disagrees with you Nazis." It's like, no, categorically, it's a game where you fight actual Nazis. And it's like, if you sit there and have to think you have to defend Nazis, guess what? You're a Nazi. Like, you fell for it, guys. So anyway.
But yeah, what? Anything else going on though with you, Solange?
Not too much. Let's see. Yeah, just the normal. Working, hanging out with Ben and the cats and turtle and such. So, yeah.
Have you been buying everything new? Because I know, like me and Ben and Frank, a lot of times we like to talk about like if we're saving up for something or if we just got something really cool, you know.
Well, Solange is a thrifter. She likes finding deals here and there. So, like, there's this thing up in her area. I think they have it in the U.S., but not in our town. Garage sale, where it's like people sell, you know, stuff, but it's a little weird. It's very communal, where people like know each other on it. I guess I don't know.
Well, no, not really. Like it's just the thing with my city you have to keep in mind is I live in a city of 200,000 people, but it's really just most of the people that live here came from small towns. Like not necessarily like my generation, but their parents came from small towns. So when they moved here, they brought that mentality with them of
it's the biggest small town. Like
it's just a really big small town. So when you know, and the thing with having a online community garage sale is you're going to run into people you know, and that kind of thing. Like I don't often buy from people I know. It's only happened maybe once or twice. But I'm always looking for good deals there, and I've got a lot of coloring stuff off of garage sale, which is really nice because there's a lot of really cool stuff that people don't realize what they have.
They'll buy like a thing and they'll sell it for like $5 to get rid of it, and it's like, well, you know, that's like 20 in the store, right? But okay.
Yeah. Last weekend I picked up a $25 set of woodless colored pencils for $5, and it's like, okay, I'm not gonna, you know. Well, what it is that, you know, people get something as a gift. They don't really want it, so they sell it. They don't, you know, when you're selling something that was a gift, you don't necessarily need to get your money back for it. You just want to get a few bucks and that kind of thing. So it's like, that works for me.
I think it's funny that story your sister was telling about somebody doing a drop off in front of a cop, and they had to explain like, no, it's
no, but that was my friend, or was it my sister or my friend? I don't remember. Yeah, my sister. Anyways, they stopped at a house to pick something up, and it was a mailbox pickup where, you know, the thing is left in the mailbox, so you just take the thing out of the mailbox, leave your money, and you go. It's not, you know, it's something that happens all the time. And this cop saw them do that and kind of pulled them over, and she's like, okay, how do I do this? She's like, okay, well, you see, there's this thing called garage sale. And the cop goes, oh, never mind. My wife has me do pickups and drop-offs all the time when I'm on duty. So it's like you are doing garage sale pickup and drop-offs on duty instead of, you know, protecting the streets from the big bad people. I'm like, that's kind of funny, especially in
garage.
Oh man,
so. Isn't that how like a lot of English people pronounce it, garage?
I say garage. I don't know.
Well, it's not, the name of it is Vorage, right?
Yeah, it's Vorage with a V. because it's online, so it's virtual.
Virtual garage.
Yeah, it's a virtual garage sale. So that's why it's called garage sale. But if you just say garage sale, people get confused. They don't always know what it is if they haven't heard of it. So, no, it's a pretty good thing. Like, I'm on it now, of course, looking around and looking to see what's new and posted today and that kind of stuff. So
it's just amusing to me because my dad, he'll go on Craigslist and he'll see if sometimes if they have a phone number, he'll call them and say, "Hey, I saw you're selling this thing. Can I stop by?" Oh, yeah. So it's like, he'll be like, "Hey, I'm going to go pick up a lawnmower from a couple towns over. You want to ride with me?" And I go, "Sure." So, but anyway, so that's what we've been up to lately, Ian.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Did you guys want to check some? I got some tech setups. That's what we usually do on the show. Before the news.
Go ahead and show us. We'll give you our limited, scope.
Man your battle stations. Man your battle stations.
Station. I don't think we're gonna have the same opinions that Frank would give you, but
right. All right. Okay, so this is the first one here.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting little. Is that a table thing or tablecloth on one end of the table?
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
It's well, I mean, you can tell by the background on the the desktop on the computer and then all the pictures that it's very much an artist setup.
Right. Yeah, these the theme for this week for me was just like workstations, I guess. So yeah,
I like the ampersand on the wall. That's a nice touch.
Yeah,
that's not an ampersand.
No.
No.
What is it?
An ampersand looks like a backwards scripted S. That's letter E.
I've seen ampersands that look like that.
I never have.
There's a lot of variations on the ampersand. There's the S, then there's the 3 with the line. Oh, the E or a backwards 3 with a line through it, and then I don't know if that's technically an ampersand, but
no, like the ampersand is technically just the thing that looks like the letter S, the backwards letter S.
Because I've seen in different, like when I test different fonts, they're like sometimes they'll have special characters, and then you get to see how they draw an ampersand. Sometimes it's that a proper ampersand, and other times it's like that, or I don't know.
Yeah. So that is the ampersand there.
So take a look at Skype. Okay. Yeah, I'm aware that's what a proper ampersand looks like, but because if you do a Google image search on ampersand, pulls up. There's the S, but then right there is pretty much what that guy has. Let me just.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I always thought that was the letter E whenever I've seen that.
I'll paste that in the chat for Ian, but because there's variations. There's because see, there's the S shape one, but then there's the one that looks like a backwards E, and then there's also, let's see, a lot of variations depending on. See, like there's that one that looks like a coin, ampersand with the backwards E and the backwards 3 and the line through it. I like that one with the dinosaur. That's nice.
Nice scream. That's cute.
Yeah.
Pretzel ampersand. That's nice. So yeah. I mean, I think there's a documentary on the history of the ampersand. I wouldn't be surprised.
Of course there is.
Is it by the same people that did the Helvetica font?
Oh, come on. That Helvetica documentary was good. Just because you and Doug had to talk some crap.
He's been trying to get me to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
I I told you, I came in one time to my dorm, and my roommate was watching a documentary on the history of the shovel.
Hey, shovels are useful.
So are ampersands and Helvetica.
I just watched a documentary on the death of physical media. I guess it was sort of a popular one.
I get that, but it's like it's an argument that's still going on. It's like, well, people are still using VHS tapes, so how dead is it?
Right.
I mean, to be fair, like I haven't played a DVD in my computer forever because the disk drive is busted. So like I have to like hit it a few times to get the tray to pop out, which is not a good sign if you have to hit your computer to get it to work right.
My tray's popped up and won't go back in. So it's kind of funny.
I've seen some people, their tray sticks out and they use it to hold a cup. So
yeah, no.
But it's like if you get a DVD anymore, you're just like, can I just get the digital version? I don't want that in my house. As opposed, although Doug has gone hardcore into the physical media, like he's collecting it now because he's convinced it's all gonna digital files are all gonna go. Something's gonna corrupt or his library's gonna get lost. It's like,
yeah,
well. Physical media can only last for so long. Like VHS tapes have a lifespan of so long. DVDs, especially DVD-Rs, don't last as long as regular DVDs, etc., etc.
Don't ever tell my mom that VHS tapes only have a lifespan.
Well, they do. I mean, if you pull out a VHS tape from the late '70s to the mid '80s, there's a chance it'll be deteriorated, just like nitrate film.
Did you guys see that they at the end of the? Oh, go ahead.
I'm just trying to think what the oldest tape my mom would have. She probably has some that old that she still watches. She has her Elvis videos. And
does she have to do the thing with the cassette tapes where you stick the pencil in and get the thing to spool back up because it's all?
No, not with VHS. So. Somehow she magically just keeps her VCR running, and her Elvis tapes, they just always run for her.
Well, I mean, just like some, people that like playing old school games, it's like they gotta get an old school CRT because it's gonna look funny on an LCD flat screen, and that. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, back to
Did you guys see that but at the end of the life of the VHS, they actually did like high definition VHS.
Oh, really?
I found that interesting.
That is.
I recall that. I mean, I've seen a lot of weird variations on things. The mechanical TV, and right before they had LED TVs, where they had the huge flat screen, so it was flat but thick. So,
yeah. But most of the documentary was like on the death of the stores and stuff, like the Blockbusters and VHS stores and stuff.
Malls being dead because nobody buys physical stuff anymore.
Yeah. I do think I was going to ask you, what do you think? Do you think there could be some kind of a audience for just like the stores of like just people getting together and like getting like looking at the art and stuff for the video that you want to buy, and then you could just get like if you want to buy the movie, then you just get whatever code to download it online or whatever,
wasn't that a thing in like the 40-Year-Old Virgin where she ran an eBay store where you came in and saw the thing and then bought it on eBay? And it's like, why would you add to the process? Isn't the whole point of having an eBay store that you don't have to go somewhere? But I get that it's for just how like the Blockbusters that are still around are like a nostalgia trip where like you're in a local town and it just makes more sense to go to a store than when you don't have internet in the local town or
Yeah, make it like a social thing where maybe you have like a restaurant or something in there too, or like at least seats or something.
Well, like there are theaters that are like that where they can't afford to show first-rate movies, so like they'll show, cult films and grindhouse stuff. It's like, or art house cinemas where they just show like local theater. Local, like certain scenes have like arty places where you can see like local artist productions kind of things. It's like, we don't have any of that because our town's too small. But I think, do you have like an artist scene in your town, Solange? For like,
we do. like we don't have a theater, but there's a pretty good art scene here. There's like every year we have a folk festival, and then there's a lot of small name music that comes out of that we have concerts for. Let's see what else is there. There's
there's stuff in like Cleveland and Columbus areas. Like it's not quite like, like Portland, Oregon, that kind of thing where it's all about small, indie scenes and stuff.
Mm.
But it's
and like we have like a big art gallery, but then there's also a number of smaller art galleries for lesser known artists to present their stuff. So that's pretty cool too.
Well, I'm just saying that like, the whole idea of like physical stores and stuff, it's like, when malls came out, they were taking over, and like that Dawn of the Dead, they made that movie, it was set in a mall because it was talking about the zombification of people, and now there's YouTube channels and videos dedicated to exploring abandoned malls because the real estate, it can't compete with online stores because you don't have to pay for renting stuff. And it's like, I think it would be cool in some respects to have like a retro, VHS store or like a retro, comic book shop that, that was just trying to have fun with it. But I think ideally it would make more sense to me to like, like what was it? The oldest mall in America, they turned it into miniature apartments because they're like, well, we have all this space and we can't, rent it to stores anymore. Why not make, something affordable housing?
Right.
I don't know.
I was just thinking, like, if they just had, like, some kind of, like, art book or something you could buy, or just, like, looking at, like, the art for the thing, and then you could buy whatever you want in that, like, they would have whatever you want. Like, either you could purchase the code for online, or you could buy it in a DVD or VHS.
So are you talking like a Redbox kind of thing, or like what they do in Japan, where you can just look at on the thing and press the button, and you get, like, a can of whatever comes out, or like some weird.
Oh no! I mean, like they'd still have like you could still interact with people and like workers there and stuff. But I'm just saying, like, you would have the things on the shelves and whatever. Then if you want to buy it or whatever, you could buy it in whatever format that you want.
To be fair, I get what you're talking about, because like that's basically what bookstores are now. They're basically an outreach of libraries, where it's like you go in and you look at the thing in the store, and then you go, well, I'm going to go home and buy this on Amazon cheaper. It's like,
well, do they have a thing where you could buy the code too? Like you could be like, I want to buy this from you guys, but then I'll just put the code in for my Kindle or something,
Well, I mean, I think they have like. Well, Barnes and Noble and stuff, they have the Nook. Like, there's some places that do that. The whole question is, like, how do you make the physical space relevant without making it this weird third thing where you're like, well, I'm in the store. Like, can you give me a discount if I'm in the store and if I bring friends, or if, something to make it not like ham-fisted, but like actually something people would do. Like, I remember Pokestops for a time. That was a thing. Stores were setting themselves up as Pokestops because people came in. So I don't know.
And there's like I do think there's a lot of creative ways that you could go about it. I mean, I definitely don't have all the answers to that. I'm just
it's creative, but like you have to really. It's creative, but you would have to like experiment with it, which is on the downside of having a physical space is you'd have to pay rent, and like you can't just rent a place and experiment unless you have the money to keep it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Solange? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Sorry. I think like some places there is that cross between a good, combination of the online and the brick and mortar stores. But yeah, like we're definitely going towards the way of online for everything, which is in some ways it's nice, but in some ways I prefer the brick and mortar. Like I want to go be able to touch stuff and look at it and smell it before I buy it.
I think right now the in between that we're seeing is like craft fairs, because like everybody that does a craft fair, it's like you go to check out their stand, and then you might go to their they're like, oh, here's a card, go to my Etsy shop, or here's my site, go to that, rather than like you might buy a thing from somebody if it's cheap at a show, but if there's something else you want to just find out about them, and then you check out their wares and then you go to their virtual shop. So,
whereas I'd rather just be able to go somewhere and see everything and buy what I need there, rather than going home, having to get on my computer, having to find the site, having to find the item on the site, having to figure out how to buy it, having it shipped, and then possibly good chance I'm paying for shipping, and then it finally arrives a few days later, but it shows up while I'm at work. So there's just a note left in my mailbox. So I then have to go to a post office and during the hours that it's open and pick the item up and finally get it home. So this is at least a 1 week process. Whereas, like I go to a store today and I see, a candle I want, I buy the candle. I don't want to have to go home and go through all of this stuff to get a candle. If I know that I want a candle, I'll go to a store that I know sells candles and find a candle I want,
That's also, the thing about like monopolies and stuff, like, that's why stores are doing so well on Amazon, because you can fulfill by Amazon. You just ship your stuff to them, and when you order a thing, they'll send it to the customer, rather, or like places like Etsy versus, your own website where, okay, what card, like, do you guys accept this card? No, you don't accept this card. Or do you accept PayPal? Or do you ship to my country? No. It's a lot easier for the big things, which is where the whole monopoly problem comes in, just like Walmart and small town stores, it's easier. Walmart will have it because they have it cheaper and, they have the thing, versus you go to the mom and pop shop, they might not carry it, or it's just too expensive. So
yeah. And like, well, the other thing with that is like being in Canada, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't ship up here. Or if it does, you're paying a lot for shipping. And that's why I've taken advantage of you being in the States a few times, knowing that you're coming up here. It's like, here, I'm going to ship this to you because it's free shipping for me to send it to where you're at. Whereas for me to ship it up here, which takes really no more effort on the part of the shipper, they're going to charge me an extra $50. And it's like, well, no, really, to ship the item is still, it's $20. But they're still going to charge extra for that because they have to go to the post office. Whereas, if I have it shipped to you, they still have to go to the post office, but they're going to give you free shipping because you're in the States. So.
Well, at least, that's the thing, though, is like you go to Amazon and it's, free shipping to the States, sometimes to Canada. But I imagine if you're in like the UK, you have to buy from a UK seller, and that gets complicated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Canada gets a lot of the same, like shipping and stuff as we do, as far as like they get included in what you like promotions and stuff you can give, because we're all just
like
continental USA,
Yeah, it's like, well, you're already in the continent, so you might as well get some of the things. But then some of them, it's like, nah, we just want to sell to the U.S. It's cheaper.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that, because it's like, well, no, we'll just ship to the U.S. And it's like, well, thanks, there's a company that sells a product that I've used for years, and that company has recently been shut down, bought out by another company, sorry. And the company I was bought out by was an American company. And they had no clue that they had customers in Canada that were loyal to their product and require it. And so they're just like, whatever, we don't need to send it to Canada. And then all of a sudden they got inundated with thousands of people from Canada going, we need this product. And they're like, oh, well, we'll eventually ship to Canada. And it's like, no, you don't understand. We need this now. It's not a matter of like, yeah, I can wait a couple of years for it. It's like, no, this is something that I use all the time. I need to have it. And they're like, well, we're just working on it. We're getting it, set up to ship within the States. And it's like, I appreciate that that's where they are, but they also have to understand where their market is. If you buy out a company, you have to take care of that company's customers. You can't just go, oh, whatever, they don't need it, especially if there's nobody else that makes the same product.
And that's why having an American boyfriend worked out well for you, babe.
That is exactly why having an American boyfriend worked out well for me. So.
Okay. So I guess all this around the ampersand. So let's get back to talking about that.
Yeah.
I like the lamps.
Right. Yeah, me too. I'm not sure what this is running off of, as far as I think. Is it like a Mac Mini or something?
Well, I mean, it looks like a Mac keyboard. I have no idea where the computer itself is. It might be in that stack of books under the thing. It might be a laptop somewhere. I don't know. I mean,
maybe it's under the blanket in the corner too. Like there's a dark spot underneath it that you can't really see what there is. So
yeah. I was gonna try to read through the.
Does it say in the post anywhere what they got? Like
that's the whole post.
Well, I mean, if they're graphic design, it might be a good bet that it's a Mac some kind or another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but traditionally, it's Mac people. Mac people.
So what do you guys think about it, though? Pretty decent.
I like the way it's set up. I like the, that it's a nice bright room, and so that'll give the person a lot of natural light, especially if they are, well, I guess graphic design is all done online, but,
there's
going to be times that you do have to draw things out, so it's nice to have that light.
I think it's nice to have the big table, but it's like, it's a little cluttered for me. Like, you got I like that they've got pictures and stuff around it, but it's like, hang that stuff up on the wall, that vase on the desk. It's like, why do you have that blanket? I mean, that tablecloth on only part of the desk. There's no real thing there other than to try and make it like this is where I read my books, or this is where I do this or that. It's like
chances are that there's something like the table itself is maybe racked underneath there, because when Ian was scrolling down, I saw that it said that it was an old butcher block. So it's entirely possible that there's big knife hacks in it or something like that, and you don't want to have that.
I don't know. It just I like the idea. I think if they put some of that stuff up on the wall instead, so that the table has some room. Yeah. Because to me, I like to have room on the table to set stuff, and you got a lot on it already. That's just my feeling.
You could definitely mount the speakers on the wall too. I could see one to keep some of the decorative stuff on the desk, like the lamp and the vase and that kind of thing. But yeah, the pictures can go up on the wall and the speakers as well. And yeah, I don't get why they have the blanket covering part of the... Probably for the photo, they probably might have taken it off right after the photo is probably just there to cover something for the photo that they didn't want seen. Maybe somebody drew a big giant...
And like that shelf, why is there the picture behind the shelf? It's like, why not put it up a little bit? I don't know.
If you actually look closely at the monitor, you can see an apple on it. So it's obviously a Mac product.
Well,
it could be one of those all-in-one.
I want to say it could be one of those all-in-one iMacs, which
kind of like I just said.
Stand, huh? Yeah.
Kind of like I just said.
Well, I'm also kind of wondering what that triangle is he's got on the side there. The thing is, I don't know, since I got my computer in 2008, so I don't know what the all-in-ones look like now. I don't know.
That's kind of what they look like.
I don't know if their cinema displays are different. I don't know. But it's cozy. It's not bad. It's just, So okay.
Okay, then we could go on to the next one.
All right.
I picked 4 because I don't know. The 3 that I had seemed kind of blah, so I don't know.
That's a nice chair.
Yeah.
I wonder if it reclines.
I imagine it does. The thing is that with that footstool, that's very wide for a stool. So, like, I'm imagining that chair is mostly meant for laying back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like a therapy chair or something.
I think that's what it is, because he's got the desk chair on the right. Yeah. I think it's kind of weird because the way this is framed, he seems to be showcasing the desk. Oh, and I mean the chair, and then also there's a desk, which is also kind of cluttered because he's got that crate of something under it, and there's really not much space.
Like there's the desk, there's the laptop, there's the monitor, there's 2 keyboards in front of the monitor. Plus all the crap that's just sitting on it. The desk, the speakers, I don't know what that silver thing is. Yeah. Could move some of that clutter over to by the window, unless that's a window seat.
Well, it's like he's got all that stuff on the shelves. Why not just put that stuff on the wall behind the chair? Because then you look at the side, it's got 2 plants and that rhino, and then that thing is clear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. He probably wants the most light coming in from that window, but
putting things on that small things on the little shelf won't affect that much.
I've never had like a bedroom like that where they have a window seat, like in the Boy Meets World or the Girl Meets World or whatever, where they always come through the window and hang out and stuff on the window sill, you know.
Well, that's more of like a TV show thing. I think, you know, I don't think any parent would really trust their kids to have that room. That's going to be the parents' room.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Right.
it's like, we're going to put you somewhere where people can't just sneak into the house and run off with you, because that's how you get abducted kids.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah, so that's pretty interesting. And then the next one is sort of related to this one.
Okay, so like,
because it's got a crazy computer chair, which is pretty much like a little recliner.
Well, it's like an old Barca lounger, or, you know, lazy boy with. I don't know, man. I don't like stuff up by my hands when I'm not using it, because that's just going to promote slouching.
Mm-hmm.
Although, look how many keyboards he has on that wall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and the air conditioner.
Yeah,
it's got like those split keyboards
with that like humming all day in your ear, man.
And I'm guessing this is like the attic room, because the way I was gonna say that the like right side, he might have just put them on that. He might have just put it at that angle for design, but then I saw the left side coming up too. It's like, no, you wouldn't make your space that small unless you had to. So it's like that's an attic room.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Barnacules' setup, kind of, because he has like the angled ceilings with the soundproofing and stuff on them, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because it's such a small space, and he's got that desk, but he's got so much stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder what he does, because if he's just like a video editor, that might make sense. But, you know, he's got it hooked up. Basically, I think he's using the laptop hooked up to that big monitor. Yeah.
It just says it's a home office.
But if it's a home office, why has he got like the soundproof stuff on the walls?
Yeah, I don't see any microphone or anything. Unless what's this stuff up here?
I think that's holding the monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's getting it. I don't know, man. All those keyboards, it's like, I guess if you're a keyboard collector, because some people are, man, they're like, oh, this, you know, the clicky keys and the ergonomic, maybe he switches them out.
Yeah. Well, is that supposed to be like a split keyboard? Looks like.
Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, some people like those split keyboards. I can only see that being a thing if you're like an editor and use shortcuts, maybe. But
yeah. I do want to get one of those game pads though. Look kind of interesting for like macros and shit.
Yeah, if you do like video editing or, you know, stuff that you have a lot of macros and stuff.
Yeah, well, if I decide to get one of those Huey on the tablet screens, I would probably want to get one of those.
Yeah, I've seen a number of reviews for those recently. I think I sent you a YouTube video for one of them a while ago.
Yeah,
while I was in Canada.
Yeah, they went down to like $650 for the 22-inch version. So
I like the wallpaper that he's got from Toy Story.
Yeah. But so, I would say tone down the keyboards. But
I mean, if that's the only place he has for his collection, I guess, unless he uses those. Like, maybe he's a retro gamer and wants to use old clicky keyboards. I don't know.
I do have to admit, this does look like the laziest setup you could have as far as like being really lazy in your life.
Well, I mean, if you use that, like, he's got that big monitor, so if he just spends his time watching movies on it or something, that could work. But like, if you're trying to actually work, that's not going to have good posture for you.
No.
Like, I would have to swap that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for the last one, I think this one's a little bit better. Or it's something, I guess.
It's dark.
Actually,
it's a little sparse.
Sparse, and the room is quite dark. Needs better lighting.
Actually, I was thinking of, when I said better, I was thinking of the one that we just did. This one was okay, I guess.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you know, it's like that monitor might be the brightest thing in the room, so the white balance might be off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that table's a little weird though, because it's like, you know, I get the having a corner desk, but then it steps down, which, like, I don't know, because like having, you can see my setup here where I'm against a wall, so it's like I always get a knee cramp if I'm sitting against it too, you know, the wrong way. So it's like I would love to have more under desk space, so it's like I wouldn't put something right next to my leg like that. So, but yeah, it's a little sparse. Like there's not really much going on in this.
Well, maybe if it was further back and we saw what was on the shelf, but like the shelf casts a pretty big shadow too, though.
So, like, is that thing on the side? Is that where he's got the tower for it? Maybe, like, is it?
Yeah,
that thing
that's what I'm
really
thinking.
far. But is it like that's a pretty wide tower if that's the whole thing?
Or is there like it might look like there's a filing cabinet under there too, or something?
Maybe.
Kind of.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, that's just a weird little setup, but I mean,
it's very minimal. That's for sure.
It would. I think it's a nice setup if, like, especially with that big widescreen. You know, it's like if somebody said, "Hey, this is yours to start filling out," I would do it. Except for that keyboard that's got that split again. Also, that's a really big bulbous mouse.
Yeah, it is.
Like that's kind of a because
Ian and I, kind of reminds me of those vertical mouse things that I see people using.
Oh, yeah. Well, it reminds me. Remember when we were in art school, Ian, and we knew a guy who said he wanted to have like a mouse that was made out of a human skull. I'm like, you realize how big that is? Like, put your own hand on your head. Imagine moving one of these around and how unpractical that is. You could have a 3D 3D printed skull mouse would be cool, but I don't know. That lamp, also that lamp, it looks like it kind of reminds me of your clip-on lamp, Solange, for your coloring thing. Like it looks like it's more for like pointed direct light rather than like.
Yeah, like it would not give off much broad light. It would. Broad spectrum, it would definitely be a very narrow light.
Is that thing on the left? Maybe that's a laptop? Is that either his router or that. It might be a laptop or it might be like the router. I don't know.
Oh no, it was pretty flat. So I think that's a tablet or something. Because I think I recognized. I think that's one of those transformer tablets that has like that anodized type of thing on the back of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I do want to get. I am, probably here, like I said, in the next week or so. I want to get that ultra wide monitor that Frank has, the 34-inch.
Are there any like? Are you doing it just because Frank did it and he told you it was cool? Or are you doing it because like the whole resolution thing on that just sounds like it'd be weird, man. Like,
well, I was thinking about it because I think it's better, I think, I'm sure you could use it for better peripheral vision on games and stuff, but I think it's really beneficial for,
do you think think it makes more sense than having multiple monitors, just having one?
Yeah.
One? Is that what so you're going to have like multiple apps open on one screen? Is that how you're going to do it?
Yeah, because I really don't watch a whole lot of videos and stuff on my computer monitors, so like I don't have to worry about the side black bars and stuff for the regular aspect.
Are you gonna use like a window management thing that'll like pop have like your web browser in like the middle and pop to different things to snap to different sides, or are you just gonna
and I think some of them, the monitors actually have that built in too, where you could do that type of thing.
I don't know anything about ultra wide. Frank bought one, but I don't know anything about it. I just know every time we do a live stream, he's like, "Hold on, you're on the one monitor, but then I got to turn this other one sideways." It's like, all right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But which one would you get? Which one would you rate this one though? So we'll just see, or like what's your starting with you, Ben? What's your like your order, I guess.
Can I get just a quick shot of each one?
Yeah, so we had that one. We had the what do you call that chair? Bark Lounger.
Yeah, either that or a Lazy Boy or something.
Yeah, and then you have the therapy chair one,
which we didn't give much of a look at because the desk is really cluttered. But that therapy, it's nice to have two chairs to go, one to go between. I mean, I only use this, and I've got my drawing desk, and I've got this. I cleaned my drawing table off recently, so I roll this chair back and forth. I can't imagine he's got much room if he keeps that lounger out, though.
Right.
Okay.
Oh.
And then
this one.
I think this one is my favorite, just for like, he's got all that natural light, and if you just move the stuff off the table, I think I would use that very well. And then that second one is he's also got some natural light, but all his stuff is on that table where it's not a very big table. I think I'd cramp up and have to go to that reading chair a lot. I mean, it's a nice space. I think I would just handle it differently.
Well, if you had more room in your area there, would you get like a comfy chair or something like that on the side?
Oh yeah. I would love to have plenty of room to just go between different desks and chairs if I could, but
maybe a chair like if you had I don't know, do you have like a laptop or some other peripheral device where you could still do some kind of work on?
Yeah, I've got my iPad upstairs. I've got an old laptop I don't really use anymore. It's like, but with that, it's like he's got the flat desk, but like, there's no reason to have that, that laptop taking up that much space, and like he could push a lot of that stuff flatter and have room for stuff, but
so it's too crowded.
It's a little wasted space, I think. It's not as good as the first one, but it's all right. And then the Barca Lounger one, like he's only got so much space, so he's got a good use of it. That chair would be cool if all you're doing is watching video or editing video, maybe. But I wouldn't see that as my daily driver because that would hurt. Like you're gonna be constantly leaning in, and your back's gonna, Yeah.
And
then that third one, let's see. That's the third. That's the third. The fourth one, it's kind of bare bones. Like this.
It's kind of boring, huh?
Well, it looks like okay, this is a nice start, but some lighting. I'm not too crazy about that keyboard or mouse, but it's like if you said we're gonna have this big monitor and some speakers, you can bring in whatever you want and add to this. I'd be down with somebody giving me this setup. You know what I mean?
So this is your second one, you think?
I think in the order that we've seen them is pretty much how I would put them. Like this is a bare bones. Like I would not object if somebody gave it to me, but I wouldn't set it up like that myself. So the order we looked at them is basically how I would put them.
Oh, okay. I would, as far as what I would choose, I would probably choose this one first also, but I would probably choose this one second, and this one third, and this one fourth.
I get you. I mean, really, the Barca Launcher, all it does other than the keyboards is it has that big monitor, but it's like it's such a cramped small spot. I don't think you could enjoy it that much unless you're watching movies. So,
I like the L-shaped desks because for me, if I'm going to be, when I'm on my computer, I'm not always on my computer. I want to be coloring, doing different things like that. I have cats that come to visit me. So I like the idea of having like where the blanket, on the first one where the blanket is, I'd probably put a cat bed there that my cats would come and sit in, and I'd probably, I could stretch out and color there, that kind of thing. Like you've said, Ben, I don't like the clutteredness of that one, but that's easily fixed. So that one is probably my favorite. But my second favorite is probably the fourth one, the one that you two didn't like, because...
The last one?
Yeah, the last one. Because the issues in here are easily fixable, and I would probably move the monitor over to the side, and then I'd have the whole part in front of me as, again, that stretch out space. I'd put a basket for my cats probably into the corner on this one, because there's no keeping them off the desk, so they'd just go into the corner where their bed is, and they could curl up. And then I'd have space to, again, stretch out and color or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I get you.
And then of the other two, let's see. I liked the one with the big chair. That looked very comfy if I'm going to be watching a lot of movies and such.
Whatever lounger it was.
Yeah, whatever the lounger is. Because, like with you, Ben, we spend a lot of time online watching movies and videos together. So that would be pretty nice to have something like that I can relax into. It's a nice size screen to watch on. Headphones would work well with it. All
he's got speakers.
Yeah, he's got speakers if you want. You could use headphones if you want.
I think the difference is that it's what you would use it for versus what Ian and I would use it for, because
yes, absolutely.
you're more viewing and consuming stuff on it, which if that's all you want, like all those would be awesome. But like for guys like us that spend our time in a program for like hours on end, we kind of want specific things. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I would classify this as an office. I mean,
it can work as one, but it depends. Like it would work better for like a viewing room. Like I could see that being a good,
And like depending on how quiet, the only issue with that one for me would be the air conditioner. If it's a quiet one, I would not mind it at all. If it was a noisy one, that'd be an issue.
It depends on the area too. Like how often are you running that air conditioner? Because it might be nice.
Well, if you're in the attic, it's going to be a warm room either way. So
yeah, but if you're like I don't know, if you're in like a cool part of the world that you don't need the air conditioner that often, maybe
like Canada. But still here it would be running all summer long. It would run for 4 months straight. So
well, you have an air conditioner running in your room and it's not too terrible.
No, but it's like the thing with mine though is it's an indoor one, so it's designed to be quiet, whereas window units are definitely not as quiet as the portable ones. And anyways, the last office, I do and I don't like that.
This one you're talking about?
Yes. I love the chair for reading. I would definitely curl up on that chair and read on it. Especially if it reclines, that'd be comfy and awesome. The desk itself, I probably wouldn't use that desk. For me, I'd use that desk to hold stuff.
That's a little.
I have a laptop, so it's easy enough to put my laptop on my lap in the chair, or I could turn and just set the laptop on the window seat beside me. That desk for coloring, like my problem with this office is because it's so dark, and even with the natural light coming in, coloring would not be easy because the walls would just suck up a whole lot of color, and that desk would suck up a whole lot of light. Light, not color. And when something like that is sucking the light, you're not going to have the same colors as what you have in a brighter room.
Well, it's like that desk. He's got 2 keyboards and a laptop, and the stand and stuff. Like he could push a lot of that back and have a lot of that desk space saved. Like.
And like if my desk was that short from front to back, I'd probably be hanging my monitor on the wall. Give myself more desk depth. Because that's not there's like a lot of stuff he's not optimizing.
I'm going to say this must be taken at some sort of weird angle though, because it does look like a stubby desk, but all things considered, like I know the size of a lot of the things in that, and it just seems like that desk is probably wider than we're seeing it, but it looks very square. I want to say it looks very square, but I'm sure it's more of a rectangle in real life. But
yeah, they should make it a rule that you have to post at least like 2 or 3.
One of the things that I'm noticing though, looking at that one again, Ian, is that there's a cord that goes from the laptop to the tower. So it's entirely possible that this is somebody's workstation, and that they use both the laptop and the other computer for work.
Is that a tower or like a base, like a woofer tweeter kind of thing?
No, that looks like a tower to me.
I don't know. That looks like the back of a speaker, because like that looks like.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Just really look.
Because to me, it looks like he's got.
You wouldn't have the back of a speaker facing the outside of a desk, though. Why would you do that?
Well, I mean, to me, it's like, he's got that laptop set up, and then that cable is going under the desk to plug into that monitor and all the other peripherals, I would imagine.
So, yeah.
Well, it looks like these are speakers for his tower.
Yeah.
But
I don't like the risers that he has. I think that's what bothers me about this desk. He has those huge risers, and they take up a lot of space. Like, it's not just a vertical thing. It's, because it goes out.
Yeah, like the legs risers, or like the risers. Yeah, because.
Yeah, I don't like monitor like risers or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. The legs on it, like that one's flat on the one side, but then along the wall, it's turned to the other. So it's a little like, if it was going to match, wouldn't it be on the other side? So it kind of cuts into the front. It's a little weird.
I'm not sure how you mean.
The legs on the table, how that one is pointed that direction against the wall. But
Yeah, I
then
see
on
that.
that one, it's flat front. And it's like, well, wouldn't you have it more to the side so you just have a lot more leg room and it would match on the two sides rather than, you know,
You would think so, but
maybe this was this like from recovered wood, homemade job kind of thing?
I was gonna say that it does look very much like a refurbished or recovered desk,
or like an IKEA hack. Well, you know,
it doesn't. No, it looks too much like real wood to be IKEA. So that wasn't a shot. That's just a simple fact.
How many IKEAs do you have down there, or up there in Canada? I mean,
I'm not sure.
Well, you're just getting one like a depot center in town or something, aren't you?
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting a depot center, but not an actual IKEA. So, well, IKEA won't set up in an area that has less than 1 million people. So,
well, I mean, like, do you have a lot? Is there a lot of them, or is they pretty sparse? Or
well, let me think.
Well, we had one when we went to Calgary, and
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's probably less than 10, because I don't think there's 10 Canadian cities that have more than 1 million people.
But they're there, you know, that's the thing, and you can order stuff. So
yeah, I could definitely order from IKEA. IKEA does a lot of shit around here.
Yeah, so they still have a good presence up there, is what we're saying.
Yeah, so that's why they're opening up. They're opening up the delivery depot because there is a call for it. Obviously, they're not going to just open it up here and hope that it works. I'm sure they've done the research and figured out that it's needed here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting whenever I talk about like up there, or whatever in Canada, like I keep forgetting I talk about like a whole country, where a lot of times I just sort of mean like that area around you, I guess, you know.
Well, the thing you have to realize about Canada is just how huge of a landmass it is, and the city that I'm in, it's about 10 square miles, not 10, 100 square miles. It's like 10 miles by 10 miles. And, that might sound big to some people, but the reality is my province would hold like 5 Texases, something like that. Like it's huge, like my province itself. And it's not even the biggest province. It's a fairly, average sized province for Canada. So the thing with Canada is,
I'm just saying, people in like Europe and stuff, when they come to the U.S., it's like they're used to the countries being right up next to each other versus, in the U.S., it's like, oh, you talk like an American accent. It's like we have, Southern accents. We have, New York, because the country is just so big. But then there's a lot of it that's like Midwest, where people live in big, group in a lot of the big cities. But then there's a whole bunch of the country that flyover country, quote unquote, where, there's no, like, when I went on vacation to Mount Rushmore, you drive and it's just like 5 hours of driving through farms and you don't see anybody. Like, we were afraid if our car broke down, we would be screwed. So, sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. And well, like, that's actually a lot of Canada's like that too. Like, I've driven from coast to coast, and there's a lot of just empty spaces because, it depends on where you are, but like, especially in the prairies, it's all farmland. So,
how long does that take to go from coast to coast?
Well, you see, when I did it, I was doing it as part of a tour thing, and we were on tour for a full year, or 10 months. So,
wow.
So we went from.
That sounds like a fun tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just hang on. Here, the Trans-Canada is 7,800 kilometers. So if you're strictly driving, no stops, or like no real stops, you're looking at least 80 hours of driving. And, or like stopping only for gas and, drive through kind of a thing. But realistically, to do it, if you're only driving, say, 10 hours a day, I guess it would take you about 8 to 10 days.
You went on a 10-month tour. That sounds, man.
It's good.
Like, how do you plan the time out for that? Like, I'm going to be gone for almost a year.
I didn't plan it. I was just part of a group that it was planned for me, and I just,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because if somebody asked me, like, hey, we're going to go on this road trip for 10 months, I'd be like, whoa, hold on. Like, was it a church group or something? Or
Yeah.
That's what I kind of figured.
Yeah, it was a band, and I did sound for them.
Oh, okay. You went on a tour with a band doing. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and this was in the early 90s, so there wasn't, we all have to have our laptops and we all have to have this technology. Well, this technology didn't exist.
I was just going to say, it sounded like you signed up for some vacation tour that was going to take 10 months and go, wait, what? But when it's, I was touring with a band for 10 months, that's different. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't sign up for 10 months. You sign up for being with it till the thing ends. And
yeah, exactly.
Okay. So didn't mean to interrupt.
What?
It's okay.
By the way, I missed which one did you say was your number one?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Let me go back here for a second. Let's see here.
Was it
I probably
like
that one as my number one, just because it's a bright room, and the clutteredness is easily fixable. It has nice big areas for coloring, and my cats could curl up on the desk in a basket quite easily. So that's what I like about that one. So I probably wouldn't have the monitors in a corner like that, because it bothers me when stuff is in a corner and there's that space behind them that's not being used. So I would either turn it. Yeah, I would turn them so they're against the wall, and then the part of the desk that's under the window, that's where I'd do my coloring. That's where the cats would live, because there'd be sunlight. They'd like to sleep in the sunlight. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't work in like the corner part of the desk. It has to be on either side for me,
Yeah, it's just like you're wasting so much space behind the, and like the thing is, the corners can be, actually the corner could easily be where you put the cats, because.
Oh, he puts Kitty in the corner.
So yeah, like there's lots of things that a corner can be used for that's not, like if you put a monitor like that, yes, your monitor is there, but there's still a lot of space there that could be used for other things, and a lot more, if you want to have a little bit of on-desk storage, that's a perfect place to do it. So. And yeah,
okay,
and like the reality. Sorry?
What's your second one?
The second is the other L-shaped one.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah. And again, that's just because of the shape of the workspace. It's a dark room. I don't like that about it, but lighting can be fixed. And I would definitely, in this room, I would do something with the walls. I would take down that shelf. I do not like it, I can tell. And I would do something with the walls, whether that's, I don't know if I would paint them. I would probably want to keep them the nice neutral background color, the cream color, because if you paint them, that's going to absorb a lot of light. But if you like put pictures on it, or just put like pieces of fabric on it to cover parts of it, just to add some sort of visual texture to the wall.
Yeah.
And then there again, like there's the two surfaces, one for computing, one for coloring. On that, it would be very easy for Ben and I to do our video calls every night. I could have him on one side and I could be coloring, and, because we don't always have to look at each other all night long. Or if we're watching a video, it's, we're not always need that big, huge
screens. No, Ben needs you to be hypnotized the whole time.
Yeah.
You're going to be looking at the goods. Right here. That's why I get a good camera, right? I mean.
Yeah.
No, he's like Dracula. He can only have you under a spell if you're looking into his eyes.
Look into my eyes.
So, and then third would be that one with the big comfy chair just to watch videos in and such. And the fourth one was the dark room. And that's just because for coloring it would not be fun. It's the desk is dark, the walls are dark, light would just, when you're working with colors, you don't.
Oh, I mean,
even even with good lighting, you'd have to have it really, really bright, and a lot of days under a light that bright would wear on you. You know, you'd almost.
When I moved into my apartment, I didn't know that you couldn't paint. I was sort of bummed out by that. They said I couldn't paint my walls, but I wanted to paint it like a cool red, you know. So kind of bright red, something like that.
Is it that you're not allowed to paint, or you'd have to pay to have them painted back to the normal color when you move out?
No, they won't let anybody paint the walls.
Oh, okay. So I know some places they're like, well, they'll say we don't want you to paint because this is the color that the whole building is. But some people will go ahead and paint a wall or something just to add that color, and when they move out, they just have to pay to have it painted. And it's like
I saw a thing online where somebody made like they decided in their dorm they were gonna paint Michelangelo's, like, you know, the Sistine Chapel or whatever in their dorm, and once the RA found out about it like near the end of the year, they found out about it, and like, okay, you have permission as long as you paint it over at the end of the year. And he finished it like right at the end of the year, so he finished it and then had to paint over it. It's like, oh.
That's funny.
But imagine the guy somebody undoing the paint, like, you know, taking off that layer and finds this Michelangelo piece. Going, what the? What happened here?
Yeah, no kidding. That'd be funny.
Well, shout out to Father Rafiki, because he was the winner of this one. Then we all of us chose this one. So
yeah, it's a nice. I think it's because it's a nice big bright room. I think that is the best thing.
It's a well-lit room with natural light, and it's a good use of stuff. It's a little more cluttered than most of us would go with, but it's a decent amount. We wouldn't, start a fire over this.
No, and I think the color of the desk helps with this one. Both of the L-shaped desks, the nice light colored desk helps. You know, the light isn't being absorbed by the desk, that kind of thing. Right. So yeah, I think I definitely picked this one for the lighting and the shape of the desk. So.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, congratulations to Rafiki. Father Rafiki. By the way, Ben, did you have any articles that you want to talk about too? For news?
Any news stories? I did have a couple I can drop in. So, have you heard about? Huh?
Okay, that's cool, because I figure we could get into the news too here soon if you. That's cool.
Yeah, I figured it's about time to transition. So, have you guys heard about? Hold on, I got a video to pause. Have you heard?
Okay,
about,
let me play the intro first.
All right.
Yeah.
The news with Ian, Solange, and Ben. Oh yeah!
And you're forgetting someone.
No, I said Ian, Solange, and Ben.
And Hope.
I mean, no, she's asleep. She has no news to add unless she doesn't like it, and then she'll be clawing the crap out of me. So.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, what were you asking? Did we hear about what?
Have you guys heard about the Starbucks zombie frappuccino?
No, you better drop that in there. Is that what this is here?
Yeah. The internet has really mixed feelings about Starbucks' new Halloween zombie frappuccino. So, yeah.
Oh, getting some kind of.
I had the video thing too, so yeah, might need to. New zombie frappuccino, you'll lose your mind.
Geico loves.
Yeah.
So, most people aren't dwelling on what the frappuccino actually tastes like, and like the unicorn frappuccino, reviews of the drink itself have been mixed. One thing seems certain: liking sugar seems to be a prerequisite to enjoying the flavor. So, there's positive and there's some negative reviewers.
So is this better or worse than the unicorn one?
Well, I mean, it's a gimmick, but you know, zombies taste like diabetes, according to one person. You were so preoccupied with whether or not you could, you didn't stop to think if you should, zombie frappuccino. Although if I was checking out my barista looked like the zombie outfits they make him put on this, I mean, I don't know.
They made the whipped cream look like brains, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit, but it's like I don't know. I mean, as long as people aren't getting like Rick and Morty Szechuan sauce about it, as long as it's like a gimmick that comes and it goes, and it's not too gross, a thing where you're like, oh, does the store have it? No, I got to drive around 5 different ones to get it. I don't know. I'd probably try it if I saw it at this, So, what do you think, guys?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well,
I mean, I'd like to try it. I wanted to try the unicorn one too.
I don't know if they have that. That might have been. I don't know if it's still around.
Well, I know I missed that, but I'm just saying I wish I did get that.
Well, I tried the mint mocha frappuccino for a while, but then last time we stopped at Starbucks while I was up in Canada, it's like, oh, they've got the pumpkin spice everything now.
For me, I'm not a fan of Starbucks hot drinks because I can only drink decaf, and their decaf espresso is not very good. So I only drink their cold drinks, and a lot of them are just so incredibly sweet that it's just too much for me. So it's one of those things that I only really ever have once in a while, because otherwise it's just too much sugar. And yeah, diabetes is a thing.
Diabetes. So, yeah. So I thought I'd share that, seeing as how you might have an opinion about it being recently in the news. Also, I read this article I found on Twitter the other day, and I kind of.
Do you look like this if you drank it? By the way.
Well, I'd have to be somebody's mom.
No.
I mean, for all we know, that could be the reaction that she really likes it. I really like this drink. This is what I usually do. All right. So, but I found this article on Twitter, and I was looking for your guys' opinion on it. Almost all the U.S. jobs created since 2005 are temporary. So, so the article, it's like, the conventional full-time job is disappearing. Survey research conducted by economists Lawrence Katz of Harvard University and Alan Kruger at Princeton University shows that from 2005 to 2015, the proportion of American workers engaged in what they refer to as alternative work jumped from 10.7% to 15.8%. Alternative work is characterized by being temporary or unsteady, such as work as an independent contractor or through a temporary help agency. So they were checking out to quantify. They were trying to quantify the size of the gig economy. Working for Uber, working for an app that you're like a contractor and not technically an employee of. And they found the interesting news about alternative workers. How people are listed more as contractors or contract firms or on-call work, versus having you're an official employee and you get the health benefits. And they also say the percentage of Americans in contract or temp work by gender, it's gone up, for women, from a little under 10% in 2005 to 2015, it's almost, inching towards 20%. So,
well, Doug says if you're contracting, it's not a real job.
Well, yeah, Doug says a lot of things, Ian.
If it pays your bills, it's a real job. At the end of the day, if you're paying your bills and able to live off it, how is it not a real job?
Well, that's the question, though, is the security issue of, like the real jobs, quote unquote, that, our parents had of, you worked for one company until you died and they paid your, retirement and they, paid to put you in the ground. It's like those don't exist anymore,
No.
And especially since every, economic crash in, recession or depression or whatever, like that whole thing in 2008 with the housing market. And, it's like there's a lot more, temporary jobs. And now with the gig economy and, you can get a job working on an app, for like, oh, you can deliver somebody's packages or you can drive them around in your car. but you don't get the insurance of being a proper taxi, and you don't get the coverage of if somebody robs you, the company will reimburse you or identify you or all these different things. And it's like they're like, oh, the future of employment's going to be exciting. It's like, I don't want to be excited with how I get my paycheck. I don't want to have to rely on what's going to happen. Like if some new app comes out and replaces, like Uber. Remember when all of a sudden there were all the scandals about people being assaulted by their Uber drivers, and there was an issue with the CEO, and so Lyft is now an alternative to Uber, and it's just like, what's going to happen when the thing changes and your entire livelihood is, it. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? I've talked a lot. I just want to get some opinions.
Well, I don't think it's a good trend, but I don't see how there's a lot of choice in the matter. I think that there's a happy medium between, the 60s through 80s where you worked for the one company till you died, and the current work atmosphere of, you're just here for now. It's like, it's difficult to not have job security. It's difficult for me to go into work every day and know that if I have one small mistake, I could just be fired for no real reason. And a lot of the reasons that companies come up with aren't great. My former job, they made up a reason to fire me, and they apparently filled my file full of stuff that they never told me about. And then when I was let go from that, I went immediately to the labor relations and had no reason to let you go. And fortunately, I was awarded a severance package, but it was just, because the benefits didn't warrant it. All that I got was a 2-week salary. So,
well, I think
it's very difficult to work and not have good job security.
Well, I think in the U.S. specifically, this is a concern. Because I see it tied into. I'll link this other article that I probably linked on previous shows before about the wealth income distribution in the U.S. How people think ideally it should be, what they think it is, and then what it actually is. Where they're like, the richest people own so much of it, we had to make a second graph just for them. Like, that's how bad it is, and people don't realize that because they just know what they get. They think that's the best they're going to get. Wages in the U.S. have been stagnant since the 70s. So and people are expected to do side hustles. They're expected to work for the gig economy. It's like when, during the 70s when incomes froze, women started going to work. So now you had 2 income households, and that's how people managed it. The proportions of it started to change where it would be one person work, but then now it became both people had to work to pay for the same house that previously one person had to be, the breadwinner and to afford. And the price of the houses just kept going until the bubble popped in 08, because that whole thing. And it's like, statistically, I just see this as the middle class is getting squeezed out, and now there are 2 extremes of you're so poor you don't register, and then you're so rich you have your own graph, and the middle section is they don't know what's going on because they keep assuming, oh, I'm on this end, or oh, I'm going to be on the other end. They don't know what's actually going on. So, I don't know. What do you think, Ian?
Well, I definitely would like to say, like, for those people that say money can't really buy you happiness, I don't think that that's really true. Like, a better statement would be wealth doesn't bring you happiness, because, like, when you talk about money at the bottom level of just trying to survive, it definitely, like, not being able to have money has definitely ruined a lot of people's lives and pretty much made it like impossible to live,
Well, I mean, the argument with all that is like money can't buy you happiness, because if you're unhappy, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you're going to be unhappy. Because, like, look at Trump, who has, like, golden toilets and golden house, but you can see he has a permanent base. So,
well, but that's why I say wealth.
It's a lot more comfortable to cry in a Mercedes than it is in on a curb.
Yeah, but it's like, I remember Patton Oswalt was talking about Will Smith you know, he had to wait for Will Smith's posse to leave before they could go somewhere because he traveled with like a 30 people, you know, posse all the time. And he was like, I wouldn't want to be that famous because you think about it, he's miserable. If you had to travel with 30 people all the time to try and, you know, beef up and tell you how awesome you are, it's like, you know, and like that money's only buying you so much. You're not actually enjoying life. You're miserable because you've got 30 people around you show how rich and cool you are. And it's like, that's no fun. Who wants to do that?
Right.
It's like, that's not happiness. It's like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So those were my things I want to talk about.
Yeah, as far as the this one is pretty complicated as far as this one goes.
Well, I mean, we didn't hear your opinions on that, Ian. What do you think about the whole, you know, temporary job crunch?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because like a lot of like we were arguing with Doug. I remember about, oh yeah, this isn't a real job or whatever, because you don't have the stability of a normal job.
He had the stability of Walmart. He felt superior.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, definitely like a lot of jobs. There's not. I would definitely say there's a lot. It seems like there's a lot less stability now, you know, in jobs, I guess, in general.
Well, the way I've seen it explained is it's never been like having a job is never, you know, running a business is never easy, but it's easier to start your own thing. But by the same token, it's like the returns and how much work you're going to have to do. You know, it's like we were talking about Amazon earlier. It's like I could start a company via Amazon, but you know, at the end of the day, what happens if Amazon decides, hey, that way you're making money, we decide that's against our policy use, or we decide we're going to open up, you know, our own thing to compete with it, and they can't. Like, you know, I was talking to Solange about this earlier with that whole private label thing, and she was like, well, you were talking about, you know, selling shirts, right? And it's like, well, Amazon has their own Merch by Amazon t-shirt business to where you design shirts and they put them up on their store and they print them and they do all that. So it's like if I opened up a shop where I bought my own t-shirts and sold them, I could not compete with Amazon's, you know, warehouse of, well, we're just going to make shirts that people print whenever they want, because they don't have to worry about the warehouse. That's an infrastructure that's built in. And it's like,
right.
You know, how do you like, how are people supposed to compete when if you survive on like that or eBay and on a platform, and then that platform decides, hey, we're going to start doing a thing and your livelihood is gone now. You know, like people on YouTube when they changed the algorithm and suddenly animators had to move to doing Let's Plays to survive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I remember. I don't know if you listened to Doug's show that I've been on, like the most recent ones, or not? Have you?
A few times, but I don't know.
But pretty much he got me pretty upset because like I let him get me pretty upset about we were arguing about a lot of the YouTube stuff, you know.
Did he cut your mic?
No, he didn't. I tried to be you know, like I tried not to get him too upset, but
I told Solange about that where I was on Doug's show and he was disagreeing with me and he cut my mic, so I flipped him off and left.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was a cool way of getting out though.
Well, it's like if he's going to Bill O'Reilly me and cut my mic and talk over me, it's like, well, I'm saying my piece. Bye. I'm out.
Right. Well, it's just like he really, his stance is pretty much like YouTube, like they really can't do anything wrong, and they can't, you know, like because he believes that YouTube isn't making any profit or anything.
Well, Google is, you know, getting a bit of a loss, you know, because it costs a lot to run YouTube, because, you know, they get millions of hours of videos uploaded to their servers, you know, but by the same token, they do have business contracts, so how much they're actually making versus Idiot, get away from behind my computer.
Yeah. I don't know, Solange, what was your opinion on all that, like the like the state of YouTube and stuff, and like the whole genres are being like wiped out from YouTube because of all this ad apocalypse stuff, and everything's going to like even more friendly than family friendly content on YouTube, you know?
I'm actually not aware of it at all because I don't pay much attention to news articles really anywhere. Yeah, I don't pay any attention to the scene of YouTube or news articles or anything like that. So I'm afraid I'm not a good person to ask. Sorry.
Well, why don't you explain what the adpocalypse is, Ian? Because I'd like to hear, your. I feel like I've talked too much on this show. Why don't we let you explain what you think it is and how it's, how people are being affected?
The ad apocalypse is pretty much YouTube has had to bend to a lot of the advertisers' wishes as far as making the platform that they put their ads on more family friendly and less like videos with like terrorism and stuff on there, less like ISIS recruitment videos and stuff like that. That's what they've been scared of, and they want to less like news like reporting things that they have their ads on. So, and like pretty much anything controversial, like you could have like hardly anything in your video that's controversial, but you put controversial on the title or in your metadata, and that'll get demonetized. So like whole genres are being wiped out and demonetized on YouTube. Like I listen to like some horror stories and stuff on YouTube. Those are gotten like the whole horror and scary scene has been like hit like severely. News
like,
reporting,
certain languages. If you like use a lot of curse words, suddenly you're demonetized.
Yeah, and Doug's whole stance is like, well, you get that's YouTube. You should read the terms of service or whatever. You have to, what you're signing up for and shit. Like.
Well, the problem with YouTube is that they don't communicate with the people that use their platform very well. And when people make their livelihood on the platform, it's understandable that they're going to get upset if there's an algorithm change that they don't know about and they don't understand how to deal with it. And they have to go to, find somebody to respond to it. Like YouTube can decide to kill your channel and not explain it to you. There's no email that announces it. It's just, hey, we've deactivated your channel or deleted your channel, and you have to go through their very automated system to get your channel brought back, or to actually talk to a human being, because a lot of it is automated. So
yeah, and I think the most recent thing with YouTube was that Casey Neistat thing where he had that. He had what was it, Ben?
A video for the shootings, for the Las Vegas people. Shootings. He was going to do a video thing. He was doing a GoFundMe or something, or he had a video and he had advertising on it, and he said all the advertising for it was going to go for victims in Las Vegas. And YouTube said, well, no, it's against our policy to run ads on videos about tragedies, so they had to demonetize it.
Right, but then they had I believe it was Jimmy Kimmel. He had advertising on there, and he talked about the same thing. And Doug's whole thing was, well, he's a corporation, and Jimmy Neistat is just one person, so
he had more money to spend on it. He had more money to talk about it, and he had lawyers that could say, well, we're talking about it from more power than some guy.
Yeah, and then also recently Doug pulled up an article about how YouTube now is, they're letting companies being able to be whitelisted from this demonetization, which is pretty crazy. What do you think about that, Ben?
Well, I mean, it's just a sign that if it's it's automated, because there are so many people on channels, and you can't just have, guy who uploads something he found online that's, and stole and put it happens to get a lot of hits, and, you can't just all of a sudden make money on that. You got to have some automation to catch that. But by the same token, you shouldn't be able to just decide, if people if people have a livelihood, there should be a level of communication to them, and they should be able to come out and say, hey, we got hit with a copyright strike, or hey, we got hit with the demonetization on this video strike, or hey, our channel, your channel shouldn't just be gone just automatically. Like, especially if you make your living off of it, because what's your alternative? Are you going to go to Dailymotion? Are you going to go to VidMe? Realistically, it's not, that's great, for things that you don't get to see on YouTube, but it's not the competition is just not there. It's not, they don't have the reach that YouTube does. Everybody wants to find a video on, video to watch online. They go to YouTube. So.
Yeah, well, Doug's whole thing is, they're not making a profit, and also you don't have to stay on YouTube. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. But then when I'm saying I feel bad because of all these people that are, they put all their lives and their livelihood in these YouTube videos, and he's pretty much says, oh, boo-hoo, and, he does that Doug boo-hoo stuff,
Doug is very black and white on issues. He doesn't
have much compassion. That's what I kind of feel. Doug's not a very compassionate person,
Well, he picks his team and he goes with it, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I would definitely say YouTube is, after all that, it's definitely a lot less stable too with this, as far as the job goes. So if I were just getting into YouTube, I definitely wouldn't try to depend on it as far as a full-time job now.
Well, I mean, the thing is, there's the ad money on YouTube is not great. So it's really, unless you have, if you have 1,000 views on a video, you've made $1. It's so, it's the ad money's not great unless you're pulling in lots of views anyway. So a lot of people on YouTube that are making money do it through sponsors or or affiliate marketing. They get people to come back to their site and buy their product, or they do use it for other reasons. But it's still the argument of you're on a marketplace, and if the site goes away tomorrow, we did an episode a while back, Ian, remember about that CG that hosted site for people's portfolios, where one day it was just gone and people had years of their portfolios backed up on it, and friends list and client lists, and they were just gone. And it makes the good point that you should have your own home site you point back to. But some services, like if you are on Fiverr.com, where you sell your jobs for $5 on their marketplace, it's you could have a big client list, but if you point people to your actual site, you take them off that platform, and the platform doesn't like that, and they can ban your account for it. Stuff like that. YouTube rewards you for keeping people's eyes on YouTube, not finding you and then going to your site. So,
yeah, I just feel bad for people because I mean, it is pretty much like a monopoly right now as far as video goes.
Yeah, I mean, what competition do they really have?
Yeah, and Doug's like, well, as long as you follow their terms of service, everything will be okay. But then when you have, that's not always the case, and YouTube's not perfect. You could definitely say that as far as their algorithms and stuff goes, and their flat automation systems, and but then when they introduce new things like these terms of service where you've been okay, their stuff I was following everything in the T before, but then when you introduce this new stuff, then you're pretty much everything you do is going to be demonetized then. And it's what are you going to do? And Doug was even arguing, well, you got to evolve what you do then, and it's well, what do you evolve it into if your whole genre is dead pretty much, and then you have to do something that you don't even like.
Well, it's like I said, a lot of animators, the money fell out of that in 2012, and now it's you have to, a lot of them do, Let's Plays, and what happens when that falls out? When it goes from Let's Plays to now you've got to do tech reviews, or you got to do a review of this or that, or you got to be, stand-up comedy, or, I don't, I don't know what you're going to do at that point. So.
Yeah, and I think it is. I do feel bad for a lot of people. That's all. I guess I know, because that there's not much you can do about that, and I think it's really unfortunate. Anybody losing their livelihood is a bad thing, I think.
Well, not anybody. Some people, the people that do it through dastardly means, or scumming and doing a thing that people don't want, but managing to get money for it. It's like that's different.
Yeah. I mean, like anybody good, even if you can go to another platform, or if you can, and I think in this case you really can. It's like that argument with, oh yeah, you can survive without the internet.
Well, it's like whenever the guy on Facebook says, "That's it, guys, I'm out. I believe in Facebook." It's like, okay, what are people? Everybody's supposed to follow you. You know what I mean? So, anyway,
do you have any thoughts? Do you have anything to add to that, Solange, by the way?
No. Sorry, it's not something I know anything about, so I'm very uneducated about it. So I apologize.
What do you have anything? Because we try to explain it the best we could.
You did a good job, but it's really something that's not part of anything that I do. I watch videos on YouTube, and that's it. I don't have any sort of investment in it. And the videos that I watch haven't really been affected by apocalypse, as far as I know. So it's really had no effect on me. I didn't even know apocalypse was a thing. So.
All right. So
I'm not a good person to ask. I apologize.
Yeah, I just thought we'd get any input you had, and then had Ian explain it, because I haven't heard his take on it. So
no, it was very interesting to hear about, but it's not something I know anything about. So
all right. So how many news stories do you have this week, Ian?
Well, I have 5, and I did ask Frank to mail me, but like any articles he wanted me to mention on the show, but he said don't count on it, so I only got like 1 from him, so it would be 6.
All right, then let's take a look.
Yeah, let me I'll post these in here too, by the way. You want to click at your own leisure. Yeah, the Newegg slapped for a lawsuit for allegedly conspiring in massive Ponzi scheme fraud.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us all about this one, Ian, because I know nothing about this.
What's Newegg?
Newegg, they're a website for, you can buy computer parts and hardware, like monitors, motherboards. It's, I don't know.
They're like the Amazon for electronics, pretty much.
Yeah, they're pretty good deals on electronic stuff, a little bit more so than Amazon. Like there used to be other companies like Tiger Direct, I think, used to be a good competitor, but
yeah,
Newegg's usually the cheapest site to go for.
Yep. So most computer enthusiasts are at least familiar with the name Newegg as one of the places to go for all the computer hardware you might need when building up a new PC. Newegg Incorporated, the parent company operating Newegg.com, has been hit with a lawsuit that alleges that the company was involved in a Ponzi scheme that defrauded South Korea banks out of hundreds of millions of dollars. According to the suit, Newegg conspired with a South Korean hardware manufacturer called Monuo in the Ponzi scheme. Monuo is the alleged mastermind of the entire scheme that ultimately aimed to allow it to use phony orders placed via Newegg and another computer wholesaler, ASI Corp, to gain new financing from banks. The banks involved in the suit include Industrial Bank of Korea, Nangyeop Bank, Keb Hana Bank, and Kookmin Bank. The banks are all represented by U.S.-based legal firm Gibson Dunn. The suit claims that both Newegg and ASI received kickbacks for their participation in the scheme. The false transaction The false transactions was levered by Manuel to secure $3 billion in loans from 10 major South Korean banks. It eventually went default on many of the loans, owing in the area of $500 million. Hong Sek Park, the CEO of Manuel, was sentenced in 2015 to 23 years in prison for financial fraud. That sentence was later reduced to 15 years by a high court. The executive was also hit with fines and forfeitures. The banks are now going after Newegg and ASI for their participation in the scheme. According to the banks, the hundreds of millions of dollars lent to Manuel was because Newegg and ASI showed they made sizable orders from Manuel for computers ordered at 300 times market value. No such business would have bought the products at such an inflated price unless it intended to create the illusion of extensive, profitable, high-value commerce between it and its supplier for the purpose of defrauding lenders into supporting the transactions, the complaint said. The plaintiffs in the case want a jury trial and are seeking monetary damages. So it's pretty complicated.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
So basically, can you give us the quick, one sentence synopsis?
Well, I mean, basically they just they were just like, defrauding these banks, I guess. Pretty much. Okay,
so it's just like who's to blame for it? Is it the CEO? Is it somebody on the service? What else?
So according to the suit, Newegg conspired with a South Korean hardware manufacturer called Manuel in the Ponzi scheme. They're the mastermind of the entire scheme that ultimately aimed to allow it to use phony orders placed via Newegg and another computer wholesaler, ASI Corp.
Okay, so Newegg just got wrapped up in a South Korean Ponzi scheme. Basically, yeah. It's not that they conspired to make it; it's that they got involved in it, and boy.
Right, I don't think any the people that operate or contribute to the website and stuff they're definitely, I don't think, have anything to do with it.
Okay.
But we do put links on all this stuff just so I don't want anybody to think we're yeah. I don't want anybody to think.
Well, we always just bring the news stories so that people can check them out themselves. So
yeah. Okay. And the second one here is EA single player games are finished. Now, do you guys play any console games or AAA type PC games or anything like that?
I'm more of the indie kind of guy. Solange and I were going to try and play one video game together, but what was it that you want us to play together, babe?
Perfect World International.
Okay, because another problem is I'm a Mac and she's a PC, so the games kind of have to play along together. So
yeah.
She doesn't consider herself much of a gamer, although she does play that Futurama game on her phone, and
I haven't even played that one in a few weeks. So I played it for a month or two. I don't play the farm game anymore.
She basically plays a game on her downtime on her phone till she gets tired of it. So she's not a hardcore Steam gamer, although
and the game I've probably spent the most played for the longest length of time is probably just Gin Rummy or something like that,
Yeah, she's more of a card and board game kind of player. So
right. Well, what do you guys think about do you have any opinions on the whole a lot of games are going where it's going multiplayer only type of things where there's no single mode or like story mode or whatever on the games.
Well, I think those kind of games have like they're a kind of game that you play for a reason. Like they're a game that you play, with your friends and shoot people. You don't need a real story. It's more about the maps and having a community. Because there are some games where it's like if nobody's playing, well, what is the single player? And then there's some single player games where they feel they have to cram in all multiplayer, and it's like if a game has a good story, or is fun to play for a reason, I'll play it, But some places, some games, if they didn't have a multiplayer arena, they're not going to survive, which is certain AAA titles, and that's a whole genre that I'm not a part of, but I understand it.
Yeah, I think like first-person games, like first-person shooters, tend to be, like online more, whereas like third-person, like fantasy games, like tend to be more story-driven, I guess. That's what it seems like. But yeah, I mean, I don't play online as much, just because like I don't. Like, it's more expensive, at least on the Xbox side, as far as you got to pay for a subscription just to be online,
Yeah, yep.
But this article is talking about us EA Games. Speaking to developer of EA Games, label president Frank Gibu discussed the company's new business model, which includes shying away from offline single-player games. We're very comfortable moving the discussion towards how we make connected gameplay, but in cooperative or multiplayer or online services, as opposed to fire and forget packaged goods only single-player, 25 hours and you're out, Gibu said, I think that model is finished. Online is where the innovation and the action is at.
AKA money.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know what you guys have any opinions on, like the whole microtransactions and how a lot of them have become sort of manipulative as far as how they
like
place them,
Well, it's like some games, they put them in like, just as a way to milk you for money. And like, if you have a mobile game, well, it better be free, and then have microtransactions to survive. But it's like, we've talked before about the AAA games that are just, so expensive to make that they have to be a #1 smash to make any of their money back in the future. It's like,
whoops, sorry about that.
It's like if they're so big, it's like, that's a bubble. It can't sustain itself. How are people going to? It's like what was that game that it sold like millions of dollars? Was it like not? I think it was right before Grand Theft Auto or something. A game that came out and it sold millions of copies, but was considered a failure because it cost them like 4 times that much to develop it. It's like, well, you can't make every game bigger and bigger. It's going to collapse on itself at some point. So chasing the money and at some point the deck of cards the house of cards is gonna fall apart, and you can't just make stuff more expensive. I don't know.
Well, I was watching a video on how they were saying that the single player games, like the $60 games on consoles, aren't expensive enough just because just how much goes into making them and how much they have to slice up the pie between like the publishers and all the other different parties that are involved.
Well, it's like just like on Steam games where they come out with the game and then they come out with an expansion pack and then later they come out with the full pack that has all the games because, it's just like, and if you're on a console, you get locked into that console, and some people just stick on it for like, 5-6 years, and it's like, versus the PC gamers who have the money to throw away at it right now. So, I don't know. It's a very complicated discussion.
Yeah. And it says this comes after the recent news that Electronic Arts will be cutting its game release schedule in half over the next few years. The company has also suffered recent financial blows, canceling NBA Elite 2 and laying off employees at 2 of its Canadian studios. We could see the beginnings of EA Games' plan in Dead Space 2, which will be released for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC in January. Unlike its predecessor, Dead Space 2 will feature a multiplayer mode. I firmly believe that the way the products we have are going, they need to be connected online. If you said adding that multiplayer gameplay is just one form of that, connected online could mean a lot of things. Expanded downloadable content and different pricing models for smaller games are also big parts of EA's new business plan. If you said, we're going to try out new price points and we're going to try free-to-play models within my group. Things like we did with Battlefield 1943, which was a $10 XBLA game that did extremely well, he said. So, yeah, I mean, there's video games have gotten, like, it's like there's more and more politics in video games as the years go on, you know?
Well, it's like how much money, you know, where does the money go? And, you know, it's like some companies like, you know, Microsoft lost money for the first couple of years of the Xbox just to be in that arena. And now it's like, you know, it's like, you know, Nintendo, they're like, oh, if the Switch doesn't work, that, you know, then they might not be a hardware company anymore. And, you know, the evolution of it all. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Doug, that's pretty much what Doug was saying, that, you know, like, and Nintendo is like, their Switch is like their last chance almost, you know?
Yeah, the Hail Mary pass or whatever.
And he's already saying it already sucks anyway, so.
Well, he doesn't give anything a chance, so.
Yeah.
Oh, Doug and his opinions.
Yeah. I don't know, do you have anything to add, Solange, before we move on?
No, I'm like Ben said, I'm not really a gamer, so don't have much to offer. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. I'm not sure. You might not have too many opinions then on this next article about Microsoft has stopped manufacturing the Kinect. Originally created for the Xbox 360, Microsoft's watershed depth camera and voice recognition microphone sold about 35 million units since its debut in 2010, but Microsoft will no longer produce it when retailers sell off their existing stock. The company will continue to support Kinect for customers on Xbox, but ongoing developer tools remain unclear. Microsoft shared the news with co-design in exclusive interviews with Alex Kingman, creator of the Kinect, and Matthew Lapson, GM of Xbox devices marketing. The Kinect has already been slowly de-emphasized by Microsoft as the Xbox team anchored back towards traditional gaming to counter the PS4 rather than take its more experimental approach in entertainment. Yet while the Kinect as a standalone product is off the market, its core sensor lives on. Kinect V4 and soon to be V5 power Microsoft's augmented reality HoloLens, which Kitman was the name, also created. Meanwhile, Kinect's team of specialists have gone on to build essential Microsoft technologies, including the Cortana voice assistant, the Windows Halo biometric facial ID system, and a content-aware user interface for the future that Microsoft dubs gaze, gesture, and voice. Yeah, I mean, I do hope that the technology lives on in other things too, because like I would like to get a Kinect or something in the future, maybe at least for like 3D scanning and stuff, maybe some kind of rudimentary
it'd be nice to see it. It'd be nice to see it, like, you know, as like a webcam plus kind of thing, you know, move off. Because like that's the problem with that when they rolled it out on the Xbox, is that it was mandatory that when you bought an Xbox, it came with the Kinect, which was a good thing for the developers because that meant that people who developed stuff for it would have it, but buyers didn't want to buy a camera if they didn't want one, so they step back on that, and then developers are like, well, why should we develop for this thing if nobody's going to use it? And so it's been in slow decline.
Yeah.
And so it's
well, I mean, I kind of agree. There's like games wise, there's really hasn't been much success for the games for the Kinect, you know.
Well, all that's cool about the Kinect has always been from like the hacker side when people use it for 3D scanning or to like use it to when they make stuff with like, oh, I took 2 Kinect cameras and I used it to make a 3D modeling camera, or I used it to model myself in Minecraft. That stuff is cool, but yeah.
What do you think? Do you have any thoughts on? Because I did an article about how the new camera and that I think it's the iPhone X, or it might be in both the X and the 8 or whatever. It's pretty much a Kinect in that camera, and then that's how you unlock it or whatever with your face, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I think it's a cool technology. The whole idea of it, being able to call out to it and control it and stuff. It's just the games that had it, originally, they're like, oh, Dan, control. You don't need a controller. It's like, no, you did, and then it became, oh, hey, the camera's always on, so we can see you having sex in your living room on it, and it, a lot of, there are too many. Yeah. There are too many issues with it. This was going to happen, so I'm glad they're going to roll the software into stuff. Like if they rolled it out for a desk, PC users to just buy cheap and use it like a webcam, but with hacking stuff, I could see that going a lot better than what it is now.
Yeah, definitely. Are you what iPhone are you going to get? Are you going to get the X or the 8 or whatever?
I don't know. My iPhone's still fairly new-ish. It's like this. I've got the 6S, but I should probably go for the new one whenever it comes out. I haven't looked at the differences between the new ones yet, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'm still trying to decide what kind of computer system I want to deal with when I upgrade this thing. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about, like, because I know a lot of people were either for or against the new thing where you can only unlock it with your face or whatever, and there's no home button.
Yeah, well, the no home button thing, it's like I've had issues with Apple's iPhone thing. Like they used to have the power off button at the top, but then they moved it to the side. So now half the time when I go to power it off, I accidentally push the volume button, so the volume goes up instead of turning and closing the screen. And now they've got that thing where, oh, when you pick it up, it comes back on, which is nice, except every time you pick up the phone to carry it, it'll come on. So, oh, you got to deactivate that if you want. Or just like when they, the podcasting app, they're like, oh, this app has 2 stars in the Apple Store, but we're going to require you to play your podcast through it instead of through iTunes or whatever you want to do. I'm like, no. So there's issues. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to have to look into it. I haven't spent any time looking into it, but I'll decide when I want to do a thorough investigation. So
yeah, I'm kind of leaning a little bit against, the whole movement towards everything being software as far as your devices goes. Like my LG phone, that the home button and the other button, like the return button and stuff, were all on, like on the touch screen. So like if the screen froze or it's like taking too long to rotate back to the original orientation, like you can't go home then.
Well, plus it's like when you have software, it's like, oh, it's all cool when it works, but what do you do when you've had that phone for a while, and then the new software comes out, and all of a sudden it runs slow on your phone, and then you try to use your face to wake it up, and it's like there's issues with that. There's going to be issues down the road with it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Do you have any opinions, Solange?
What do you think, Solange?
Are you an iPhone person, by the way?
No, I'm an Android.
Hold on, my headphones are acting up. I can't hear.
What do you have?
Okay, what?
I'm an Android person. So if it has face recognition stuff, I have no clue about it.
She's an Android person. Your Data from Star Trek.
What phone do you have?
I have... That's a really good question. It's a Samsung. I think it's an S6. I'm not sure. I'd have to go looking.
Okay.
I haven't looked at this for a while. Yes, it's a Galaxy S6. So there you go.
Yeah, that is one thing that Doug does praise. He praises Samsung as far as on the Android side. He said that's pretty much the only competition for Apple.
I would agree. I've been a Samsung user for, well, except for, I think I've had one phone in the last 12 years that was LG, and that was before smartphones came out. All my other phones have been Samsung, and my first Samsung smartphone was a Galaxy One, and I loved that phone. Like, it was a great little phone. Nothing it wouldn't do. It was like a brick. I dropped it. I did everything to it, and the screen, I think it had a tiny mark on it, like not even really a scratch. Like, I loved that phone. So yeah, I've always been a Samsung person, and I probably always will be a Samsung person. My sister switched from Samsung to iPhone, and she said something she likes about it, but she doesn't like the camera on it. And I've noticed that when she sends me photos from it, they're not very good. Whereas with a Samsung, it has a far superior camera to her iPhone. I don't know what kind she has, so don't ask me. It's an iPhone. That's all I know. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, most people I know that have iPhones, they're like, oh, it's a superior camera to everything except like a DSLR most of the time. So I don't know.
So I don't know. Like, I know all that I know is that the photos she sends me aren't, well, the photos she sends me are okay, but if she tries to send me a video of her kittens or something like that, it's just awful. I can't even.
Well, it could be a
really see it.
compression thing, depending on how she's sending it, or it might just be that she doesn't know how to film video properly.
I don't know. I really
Right.
don't know. So,
well, I'm the type of person, like, I mean, one day I might get an iPhone or whatever, but I can keep my devices separate. Like, I could have an iPhone and then like an Android tablet and then like a PC. I don't feel like I have to have like a whole ecosystem. I kind of keep those things separated.
Well, I mean, they can have issues playing nicely together is the only problem, at least depending on one side or the other. So,
well, I'm just saying because a lot of people are saying, like, oh yeah, if you get Apple, you have to have everything Apple then because they all play nice together. They're all in the same ecosystem or whatever.
Well, like if you have stuff on your phone and you want to drop it to your computer, it's easier with a Mac. But I don't know.
I drop stuff from my phone to my computer. Actually, I usually send stuff from my computer to my phone because I still have my old Note 3 that I use at work just as an MP3 player, a music player. And it's very easy for me just to send music over to it. It just needs to be in the same room, and a Bluetooth just sends it right over, and that's all that I ever need to do. With my first phone, the Galaxy One, I did have to plug that one in to load music onto it. But now, like, both my phones, if I want to send something back and forth, it's just Bluetooth, and they read each other very well. And that's one thing I do like about having both PC and Samsung phone. So.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Frank and Ben too a little bit we're big into technology.
It depends. Depends on the tech and what we're doing with it. If I can play with it, I'm into it. If not, So.
Were you drawing over that? What is it, like a 32-inch Cintiq that they have now? Because you were already like the 24 inches the size of your desk. That is like the size of like a table then, huh?
I've already got mine's a 20 UX or 21 UX. I don't know. Yeah, 21 because the 20 was the widescreen. I'd like a more portable solution, so I'm looking at the Studio Pro that they've got. But I'm really hoping Apple rolls out something that's more professional than the iPad, the iPad Pro, because it's still an iPad. It's not a full computer, but we'll see. I'm open, but I don't know.
All right. Well, our next article here is about Charter CEO tries to blame Netflix password piracy for company's failure to adopt to cord cutting. So
oh boy,
this is more of like a Frank type of episode because he's always about like how bad the the communications companies are doing.
Well, Solange recently cut the cord, so she can have some opinions on this.
Cut which cord?
The cable.
Oh yes, yes. I very recently, like I bought an Android box in June, and it took me, being not a technology person, took a while to figure out how to use it. It actually took Ben coming up here and showing me how to use it to get it up and running. And as of last Saturday, we got rid of our cable box, and I've watched everything on my Android box, and it's been great.
Oh, nothing.
Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something. So yeah,
you had to go. You had to get prepared recently, but
yeah, like right now, I had an error message pop up, so I just messaged the guy that I bought it from because he sells them as part of his living or whatever. So it's at his place right now being fixed, and I'm going to pick it up tomorrow, so he'll have it for 24 hours, and it's going to be back up and running. So I love it. I could use it to watch hockey, which is the sport that I watch. So I can stream hockey on it. I can watch any TV show that I want to.
You got Netflix on there,
Yeah, I have Netflix on it. I have YouTube on it. I have, there's so many things on it that I can do. And now that I've learned how to use it, I love it. Like, I knew that it would be, I figured I would like it once I learned how to use it, but now that I've learned it, it's like, it's great. It's very easy to do anything I want to.
Well, I think most people nowadays they're definitely switching from the mindset of, oh yeah, in order for me to enjoy what I watch, I just gotta flip through random channels and hope I find something. Now everybody's you decide that you beforehand you choose, I think I'd like to watch this,
Well, the only reason why I had the cable box for so long was for hockey. But now that I can stream hockey through the Android, I have no reason, no use for cable. Like, we had the cable box, so I used it to watch TV because, it was there. But now that I've switched and I know how to do it's quick to search and find something you want to watch, you put it on, and that's all there is to it. It's
like, that's the thing is, like, cable companies, they make you buy a package and you'd have all these channels that you would watch one or two things on, versus, you couldn't get a la carte because that's how those channels survived, as being in a package. And now it's like, well, I'm just going to watch the couple things I like and not spend all my money on something else. So
exactly. So now we're spending our money on just on our internet, which, we have, when we got rid of cable, we boosted up the speed. We got a higher data package because, like, we'll use data streaming, but, we were able to boost those things up. And even with boosting those, we're still paying like $40 less a month than we did with cable. So
yeah, at the end of the day, TV is just like streams of data going through. So I mean, why would you want to pay for a separate thing that does pretty much the same thing you could get on one service, But the one thing I did notice about, like, you just using Netflix and all these other, choosing what you specifically want, and it is, I do notice, like, back in the old days when you did have to rely on all these different channels, it's like it kind of forced you to be a little bit more open-minded, I guess you could say, as far as then you were kind of forced to watch this or watch that, and you actually kind of liked it a little bit. And nowadays I catch myself, I'll just go to these few things and stuff, and I won't like be more open-minded to things, I guess,
Well, there's very much that aspect of it.
Won't have much diversity.
Well, that's what they talk about with, like, newspapers, especially like political cartoons. Because, like, if you got, you had to get the newspaper because that's the only way you got the news at the time. And if you saw a political cartoon that you disagreed with or you agreed with, it's like it was there. They had, that's all you had. Now it's like you don't have to do that. You could just go to a website that has all the news particularly geared towards your opinion and your echo chamber, and you don't have to be exposed to anything that you don't agree with, you know, or that you don't want. So
right, yeah. But this article though, there, I haven't read this yet, but it says like most pay TV providers, Charter Communications Spectrum continues to lead pay TV subscribers tired of paying an arm and a leg for a giant bloated channel bundles. Also, like most pay TV providers, like company isn't willing to really own the fact that their only real solution to this problem has been to double down on the same bad ideas. Charter just gone down gobbling up Time Warner Cable and Bright House Network subscribers in a $79 billion deal that resulted in rate hikes as high as 40% and somehow even worse customer service than the historically awful customer service the sector is known for. That said, it shouldn't be particularly surprising that Charter lost another 104,000 traditional video subscribers last quarter. Those losses came after losing $90,000 or 90,000 TV subscribers during the second quarter, another $100,000 or 100,000 subscribers during the first quarter of the year. While skyrocketing prices, horrible customer service, and the rise of streaming video competition are the obvious culprits here, Charter CEO tried lay the blame elsewhere. I think they were meaning try to lay the blame elsewhere. Namely those troublesome rabble rousers who share streaming service passwords. There's a lot of pressure on the video business. Rutledge said the biggest pressure is price. Well, if the second biggest pressure is that many programmers are distributors, whether they know it or now. I think they meant to say whether they know it or not. Mm-hmm. And because of the password sharing and multiple stream products, you have 35 million one-person households in the U.S. By the way, am I on? No, I'm on Ben's. So,
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. This isn't the first time Rutledge has complained about the practice of password sharing. While companies like Netflix and HBO have made it clear that they see password sharing as a form of creative marketing, Rutledge has long stated he sees a practice as some sort of nefarious menace. The lack of control over the content by content companies and authorization processes has reduced the demand for video because you don't have to pay for it, Mr. Rutledge said on the earnings call. That's going on in the college market. Yeah. It goes on a little bit, but it says cable providers could easily combat streaming video competition by lowering rates and offering more flexible channel bundles, an idea that they pay a lot of lip service to, but rarely implement. Instead, execs like Rutledge have tried to downplay the threat of cord cutting and the belief they can nurse the traditional cable TV cash cow indefinitely. They're afraid to offer a cheaper, better product for fear of accelerating the trend. What they don't often seem to understand is that this isn't going to be a choice. Days of cable TV, wink, wink, nod, nod, non-price competition are over, and if these companies want to remain in the TV business, they're going to have to seriously compete on price.
Hey, Ian, did you know your clock is about an hour behind mine?
Oh, really? Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that on my phone.
As I was just looking, like, your clock says it's 11, and then I was checking my clock, it's after midnight. Which one is true?
No, I'll change that.
We're 2 hours ahead of Solange either way, so... Well, not either way, but, you know.
But do you have any thoughts or opinions about this?
Right?
I mean, I think we're all in agreement that sure, blame Netflix and people sharing passwords for why your service isn't doing so well. The cable's been. They know that they have a problem. Quit crying about it. Actually, improve your service. Otherwise, people wouldn't be jumping ship.
Right.
Well, actually, depending on how well my Android box works out, I might even just look at not bothering with Netflix anymore if I'm able to stream everything I want to.
What kind of Android box do you have? Because I got one too.
Just a second. Do you want like the actual name and model of it?
No, just like the name.
It's a Kodi box.
Oh, that's cool. That's what I have too. I have one of those. I forget what mine was called, but it's one of those M8S boxes or whatever.
Mine is. I just looked it up. Whoops, wrong one. Mine is a T95X, whatever that means.
Cool.
Yeah. So no, so far it's worked really well. You know, with the exception of this little problem, but it's being fixed tonight. So yeah.
Yeah, I noticed with mine, like if you unplug the Ethernet cable, like if I'm taking it to another friend's house, sometimes it's kind of fussy about recognizing that the cable is plugged in when you replug it back in. Like you have to reboot it and stuff.
Right. For mine, well, what happened with mine is the basic remote that came with it didn't work. So to turn it on, I've had to unplug it and plug it back in. And I'm wondering if that's been why it kind of got grumpy. So when I get it repaired, I'll get a proper remote for it, and then it should be fine.
Did you get one of those Bluetooth keyboards or whatever? Because I got one of those for mine. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I got one of those.
It's a Bluetooth keyboard remote kind of thing versus a full Bluetooth keyboard, but
yeah.
Well, it's. Let me see here. It's right here, Ian. I don't know if you can see this.
Okay, I don't know.
Are you able to see that?
Oh yeah, I got the same type of thing where it's got the trackpad and stuff on it. Yeah,
exactly. The only thing it doesn't have is a power button for the Kodi box, which is a frustration because if it turned the Kodi box on and off, that'd be awesome. Then it wouldn't even need the other remote. But yeah. No, so far I'm quite happy that I made the decision to cut cable because, like, especially the last 6 months or so, there's been. I used to be one of those people. I came home from work, turned the TV on, and it would be on for the next 6 or 8 hours till I went to bed. And now there's nights that I come home, I don't even turn it on. Like, there's only a few nights a week that I actually turn my TV on.
Well, it's because you and I are on hold.
Yeah, this is true.
Is nice.
Yeah. I guess another thing I guess you could say that kind of like with what we were talking about the video stores and stuff, with the new things that you could do, the Netflix and these Android boxes and stuff, where you watch on demand, I guess you kind of lose the social aspect as far as, oh yeah, I'm going to come over to my friends and watch this. You knew exactly when your favorite TV shows were going to come on, so it's like you go over to their houses and stuff.
Well, we don't have TGIF anymore. You don't have everybody talking the next day about that show. Now it's like, if you do, it's like, oh hey, did you see the latest episode of Game of Thrones? Oh, I don't have HBO, or did you know?
Yeah, it's like you can't talk about it. Don't give me spoilers. All that stuff.
No spoilers. I'll catch up over the weekend. And it's like
Yeah, it's like a lot of the new technologies, unfortunately, you kind of lose social aspects, so it makes you less social.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next news story.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see this next one here. Okay. A phone app that listens to your car and could warn of impending trouble. Since it uses the phone sensors, there's no risk because someone can hack your car. As cars get smarter, more and more of them are going to give their owners preventative maintenance alerts. It's one of the benefits to consumers regularly touted by advocates of the connected car. And even some older cars can get in on the action via aftermarket units that connect to a car's onboard diagnostics port. However, that last one might not be necessary if a technique being developed by some researchers at MIT pans out. Rather than plugging a diagnostic dongle into a car's controller area network, the attendant hacking risk, Joshua Seigel and his colleagues reckon a smartphone's microphone and accelerometers could be sufficient. Some of the research has been published in the engineering applications of artificial intelligence, specifically a paper that shows the audio data collected by a smartphone alone can diagnose an air filter that needs to be changed. The idea behind it is quite simple. A dirty or occluded filter blocked by leaves, for example, will be a different flow of air through it than one that's working in as designed, and that difference will result in different auditory and vibratory signals. This is important because the driver or occluded filter won't send the optimal amount of cold, fresh air to the engine, which means worse fuel economy and increased wear. Saigo and his colleagues tested the idea using Mazda 2 and Honda Civic recording engine noises with a stand microphone as well as an iPhone 6. In addition to getting audio samples from the engine bay under normal conditions, they also tested the cars after covering the air filters with about 2 millimeter thickness of carbon fiber material to simulate uniform particulate buildup. Team also sampled the car sound with a 10 centimeter square piece of paper on top of a clean filter to simulate the presence of a large leaf or other blockage. Once armed with these audio samples as training sets, they created an algorithm that could learn to discriminate between a filter in optimal condition versus one that isn't working properly. Okay, it's still a bit of leap to go from waving a phone over an engine bay to listen to an air filter to an app that could keep a constant ear on your car's health to warn of impending trouble, but it's not that far-fetched. Saigo's paper cites previous work that has shown neural networks can use sound to identify air intake, manifold leaks, ECT, and camshaft sensor failures in cylinders with accuracies exceeding 95% accuracy. I mean, it's kind of it. I just find it interesting because it's sort of cool how like all the crazy things you could do with your phone now, you know?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you know, cars come with OnStar and all kinds of other things. It's like, why not have an app that watches it? So.
Yep. Solange?
I so far have not had a car that's new enough or smart enough to have any sort of computer, but I would think I would appreciate a car that communicated with my phone and told me what was wrong with it. That would be awesome. You know, especially if it's not just the computer stuff, but if it could tell me about mechanical issues it's having, that kind of thing. That'd be great, because then, you know, and especially, you know, if it would diagnose, say, something needs doing within, and then tells you, like, you know, you've got 6 months to do it, or you've got, you know, 2 weeks to do it, kind of a thing. So that way you're not like out in the middle of nowhere and your car just decides, no, I'm going to stop working right now. So, yeah.
Yeah. They also, we've done articles about they have these attachments that you can plug into your phone that turns into like a thermal imaging camera. And then you have these new phones, like the newest iPhone and stuff, that's pretty much has like a Kinect sensor on it and stuff. So you could use all these other imaging techniques to diagnose problems too. I would think, like I know a lot of computer experts are using like thermal imaging to, like optimize the best airflow for computer cases and designs and stuff. So it's definitely interesting.
Well, I mean, it does bring the question about the iCar, because it's like, it's cool to have all these apps on your phone for, but it's like, what happened? Like, are there going to be manufacturer deals where they're like, oh yeah, you buy this Lexus, of course you're going to have the latest, most expensive phone. And of course you're going to have, this model phone. You're not, like, oh, sorry, the car control app is only on the Android. I'm sorry, you don't get it on your. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if Apple would do an iPhone even like if all the cars were automated,
Build Uber into it. Okay, we're taking over this guy's car and he's going to come pick you up in 5 minutes. Oh no.
I would like to see an Apple TV though, like a full-size TV.
Trying to think who was it that has a TV coming out. I don't know. I don't even know anymore, man. I'm tired.
Yep. Okay, and the last article here I have is about, oh yeah, this is Frank's here. This is about AMD's Ryzen CPU with Vega graphics threatens to blow KV Lake out of the water. Yeah, so AMD announced today in its first two processors to combine its new Zen CPU architecture with its Vega graphics. The new chips aimed at lightweight mobile systems go head-to-head with Intel's U series processors, and for the first time in many years, AMD is going to have competitive chips in a thin and light laptop market. AMD's Ryzen and Threadripper processors reestablished AMD chips as competitive with Intel's, while the AMD parts gave up a bit of performance to their Intel rivals, especially in single-threaded tasks, a result of the combination of slightly lower clock speeds and slightly inferior instructions per cycle. They shine in multi-threaded tasks, with AMD often offering many more cores and threads than Intel for the same or less money. In the mainstream desktop space, Intel's Coffee-like chips have reasserted that company's dominance. Skylake X does the same in the high-end desktop space too, albeit at a high price. But things are looking like they're going to be different in the mobile space. That's because the two new chips, the Ryzen 7 2700U and Ryzen 5 2500U, show signs of being faster in both processor and graphics tasks than Intel's latest comparable chips. Both chips, yeah, this one's going to be pretty long. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I mean, they look pretty interesting as far as the, like it looks pretty powerful,
Cool.
Yeah. But are you guys like? Do you guys think that like the performance in phones are pretty good, or do you think you'd like to see more like phones and tablets and stuff be more powerful?
I mean, for what the whole argument comes down to what you want your phone to do. If you want to just be, a consuming device, and to like take video and, and text chat with friends and stuff like that, it doesn't take a lot to do that, and it's pretty awesome. But the thing is, I still want a computer because, like I need something that can handle video editing software and, all the other stuff I run. So I don't know. Well, video editing, you can still do that on phones too, but, art stuff, I just want to have a pro system.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what is it, the Photoshop elements or whatever that you could get an app on the phone doesn't cut it?
Well, it's like doing anything with your phone, it's like, I I don't know, because when I was vacationing up in Canada for a while, I had my iPad and didn't have a full computer, and for a good amount of stuff, just like checking Facebook and doing stuff like that, it was okay. But if I wanted to do art stuff, I would need to get out my pencil and paper. It's still not the same.
Well, what do you think about the iPad Pro with the pencil?
Well, unfortunately, it's still an iPad. It's still not a proper computer, so it's like you use apps and you do this and that, but it's not the same as everyone is like it's an in between. It's not like it's not quite like a tablet computer quite yet versus the Microsoft Surface versus the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro, stuff like that.
Well, how do you think, have you seen reviews on the comparison between like what is like the mobile version of the Cintiq where then it runs off its own thing?
Well, it's basically the mobile version of the Cintiq it's basically, a tablet computer, but it's very beefy and awesome, like I watched a review of one guy. He took it to a LAN party just for the sake of trying it out, and he's like, actually, this thing worked very well for gaming for most of the games, and it was a lot better than having to set up a tower and stuff. So it's pretty good. But it's like the iPad. It's like, well, the pencil is better than a lot of tablet devices, except maybe Wacoms, I think, or even then, like it's a really good stylus. But the iPad Pro is, it's higher quality than the current iPad, but it's still, apps, and it's still not quite a full computer. It's not really a competitor.
They definitely need to. Oh, what?
It's just its own thing. It's like Apple, they have an issue with the Pro market. A lot of pros are like, oh, what about where's the new Mac Pro? And oh, you've unveiled the new iMac Pro, but what about the when are we going to get our thing? Like, we don't want the prosumer market. We don't want consumers who think they're fancy. We want to have like professionals if we want to do this and that. And it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, the pro market of it isn't quite as iterative with Apple as it is with their mobile.
I figured Apple would be like, they'd wait till the Surface and the second one came out and all that stuff. I'd figure they'd wait for because now there's competitors to the Surface. There's that what was it that they recently came out with, that huge like desk? It was basically like the top of a desk but with a tablet screen in it, and it's like I figure they've watched enough of that now to like roll out, hey, guess what? We've heard all these issues with the Surface, and now we've rolled out one that also recognizes our Apple Pencil, and it's this and that, and this is why it's better. But it's like we haven't heard anything yet. And I know when they had the trash can Mac Pro, that there were all kinds of issues with, you couldn't upgrade it very easily, and it had heating, airflow issues. And it's like they've been remodeling that for a while. I don't know what's going to go down with it yet.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they're going to go back to the old design. Like where it's like a normal desktop shape, tower.
Yeah.
Which I like the design of the type that you have. It made a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's a very nice tower. It's just, I don't know if they're going to go to that, or because the iMac is basically their MacBook Pro in a giant tower, and it's like now they've got all in one the iMac Pro or whatever, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I haven't bought a computer in a while, and I need to get one, but it's like I don't know, man. I'm so confused.
Yeah, you're right though. Like, I think the technology of the Apple Pencil is definitely better than what it's drawing on,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like it definitely has a lot of potential. So, like I could see Apple getting into the like the Cintiq market, I guess, but they're probably a little way off.
Well, I figured that they, after the Surface came out, I figured they're like, here's our equivalent of it. Because people have taken, their laptops and turned them into tablet computers, but it's like you have to basically buy, a MacBook Pro and then also pay to have it converted. So you're paying like $3,000 plus. It's like, I'll just buy another Mac Pro at that point.
Yeah. And like, I saw like mainstream commercials with the Surface too, because like they were, you know, you had like the mom drawing like silly pictures and stuff with the kids, you know, so it's not just artists that you can appeal to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's who like the iPad Pro was. It's like people who wanted to sketch and doodle, you know, and make arty stuff, but it's still not quite you know, a work machine like just yet. So,
right.
I don't know.
Do you have anything to add, Solange? Like, do you like coloring books and stuff? Like, would you ever like to have something like Ben has, like a Cintiq or whatever, or like some kind of surface?
No, I'm a fan of old school coloring. Just give me some pencil crayons and a book, and I'm good.
Well, the thing is like if I'm sure there's like tons of like, well, I don't know about tons, but I bet you'd probably be able to get to something where you could like generate like a random thing that you could color in. You know, I bet you they have like a coloring book app or something.
Yeah, but that's still not the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know Ben says it's definitely not the same as far as the texture goes when you're drawing on it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
What did you say you could get? Like you could get something that kind of feels like a texture, like some kind of cover or something. Didn't you say, Ben?
Well, certain apps, like certain devices now, like the screen is made to feel more like paper with a little bit of a bite or whatnot.
Yeah.
Or like there's things where you could there's an Intuos now where you clip paper onto it and you can ink on the paper and then it'll digitize from the thing, but it's like it's still weird.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and like, you know, blending will never be the same on digitally as it is on paper and pencil. So no. And, you know, the color that you might be trying to make, like if you're trying to make a color by combining colors, it's not going to be the same because, you know, it's going to depend on the capabilities of your tablet or your computer or whatever. And whereas if you've got, you know, really good pencil crayons, you can make yourself any color you want. It's just a matter of blending and making them work together.
Right. Well, that's cool. You guys, that's it for the news here. Do you guys have anything you guys want to add here? You got anything to plug, Ben?
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Yeah, what are you guys going to be doing for Halloween?
Working.
Working for the man every night and day. So yeah, hope everybody has a good, safe Halloween. Remember, black cats, they're not bad luck. And this time of year, that you know, the shelters have trouble giving away black cats, and it's a concern because the mortality rate of people on Halloween, they do bad things to black cats if they're caught out. So, if you see a black cat, be nice to it. If you're friendly, pet it.
Right.
Black cats are cats too, and they're cute.
They are.
Yep.
I've known several wonderful black cats. They're beautiful cats.
Yeah.
They're very
Don't
cute
let superstition get you, man, because superstition is dumb. Just a lot of stuff that people want to believe. Yeah. My mom, I'll be walking past a coin on the ground, and my mom was like, "Oh, it's not heads up. I don't want to touch it." And I'll just kick and go. I make my own luck. Pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents, their Halloween was this past, I think it was like Friday or something, because in their development they do it like a week earlier than Halloween, and it's like during the day for safety for the kids or something. Like, man, that would suck, man.
Yeah, well, my mom's complained about ours because like they have it during the day and it's not technically on Halloween, and it's like certain neighborhoods have it on different days, and so she's like, so these neighbor kids that aren't even in our neighborhood just come by on this certain day, and it's like, no, man. But I will share this link with Ian that I think would be I think is amusing, would be a good way to go out. Great password, NBC. Because MSNBC reports on the JFK files being, released, and some of them still being withheld. And on the computer screen, they're showing, it says password NBC. Great password NBC.
Wow. Nice.
So yeah, is nice.
Yeah.
So happy Halloween, everybody. Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shot a scissor up.
Thanks for having us on, man. It's been fun.
Sure. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, I'd like to thank Ben for coming on and Solange. So I didn't have to man the show myself. I appreciate it.
It was fun.
I hope you enjoy when Freight comes back and from his undisclosed location.
Yeah. Well, I think pretty much he just said he's just gonna most of the time at the undisclosed location he's just gonna be sleeping. So I was like, "Well, have fun." And he's like, "Oh, I will. I'll have fun sleeping."
Yeah, I mean, I have fun sleeping.
Me too.
Yeah.
I could sleep I could sleep competitively.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. You always win.
I would. Yeah, sleeping is my superpower.
Yeah.
Well, my public superpower.
Well, I slept all day, so I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
So, happy Halloween, everybody.
Peace.
I was referencing Treehouse of Horror, but never mind. See you all on the other side.
No, that's not what. Nothing like that. I can get critiqued on my air guitar, but whatever.
You're playing an air bass.
Oh, yeah. Air bass. I need to lift up the arm a little bit.